out. In the dark you hear a growl. Monsters in the night, unnatural appetite. A demon sent me here to take you to the afterlife. I feel something change inside of me. The inner human slowly dead in me. I feel it come alive. The darkness brings me light. There ain't no stopping it, and you will never hide from me. Pain of the change. What have I become? A creature of the night, ruled by moonlight. The pain of the change. This body's no longer mine. Feel wild and free, but caged at the same time. It's hard to be human, think human, feel human. A hunger's
a reflection in the mirror of something standing in the corner of my room, watching me, observing me. Is it my imagination or insanity? A strange hum, a flash of light. I'm overcome, nothing but fright. Otherworldly beings taking me in the night. I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. What do I do? What do I do? Where are they taking me? Where are they taking me? I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. I don't feel real. I wake up in my bed. Was it just in my head? Looking at my hand, there's something there. Inside of me, I'm feeling oh so scared. Confusion and nasty fear. It wasn't just a nightmare. So loud, so bright, hypnotizing me, figures lost in time. I'm tortured, surrounding me tonight. I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. What do I do? What do I do? Where are they taking me? Where are they taking me? I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move. I don't feel real. I wake up in my bed. Was it just in my head?
Everybody ready?
Taking me, they're swelling in me. Where are they taking me? Anxiety
play or-
rising. Was it just in my head? Paralyzing.
Doesn't matter to me.
Was it just in my head? I'm an extraterrestrial hostage
There might be some people who can hear it
tonight.
last.
I wanna run, but I can't move. What do I do? What do I do? Where are they taking me? Where are they taking me? I'm an extraterrestrial hostage tonight. I wanna run, but I can't move.
Let the
I
music
don't
play
feel
so
real.
you can get acquainted
I
with
wake
it.
up in my bed. Was it just in my head?
Okay. So those songs, the first one, I don't know if you guys got to hear it because I know it started playing before anyone was even in the chat, but that first one is the werewolf song that Nelly wrote. She wrote that a long time ago, and I convinced her that it was good. And she's not a very what do you call that? She's not conceited. She's not a conceited person. Like I did this. Look how good it is.
Yeah.
You know, she's
Braggadocious.
yeah. She's not like me.
Yeah.
That's the big knock on me is that I'm not arrogant. I'm just confident.
Yeah, there's a difference. People don't
Okay.
understand it.
People used to get so mad downtown, like he swaggers around, didn't stop me. I mean, you know, I thought it was funny. Like one of the Filthy Five, like I said, hey, you need to beat me up. You need to put me in my place, whatever. And then like a few days later, he's on his live talking about you need to shut me up. But they're like just basically mirroring whatever we do.
I know you are, but what am I?
There's no originality there, no creativity, but it's just. That's just, and they're mad because they don't have any originality, no creativity. Don't be mad because your wife doesn't write good music, dude. Doesn't make good music, okay? Don't be angry. Maybe if you wash and shave and clean up a little bit, you could probably find a decent woman, but probably not because your personality sucks. Simple as that. You go around being nasty, mean, and using fake accounts. I mean, of course, nobody's gonna.
Wah, wah.
Can you imagine? Like, you're like, why do you have 447 profiles on your phone? I got two. I got one of me looking like what do you call that? A crusader.
Yeah.
And then the other one is me standing in front of a wallpaper that's bananas. It's a backup account. That's it. That's all I got. Two me's. Mm-hmm. I don't have a million fake, whatchamabobs there. I got accused and he said I was all these different people on YouTube, but and it turns out it was Chris Clough. I'm like, no, he's very much a real person, not me. And the bottom line is, first, I don't have that in me to be that deviant. And second, I just don't have the time. I mean, who the hell has time to do all that?
You would have to be insane.
Yeah. You have to be really, they're insane to do that. Yeah. And then they talk to themselves too. They're like, they'll be having these like long, drawn out, elaborate conversations. And you're like, this person's literally just talking to themselves. Literally. I can imagine just sitting there like typing, Josh Turner is the bomb. He is a good guy, like.
And then on another account, what do you like about him the most?
Then you flip back. You flip back.
Just go back and forth.
He is so cool.
It's like psychosis.
And his stories are good.
You're like Cartman.
I
think Cartman is so cool. He's the best, and he is not fat. He's just big bone.
Yeah.
You're like, really? What they have time for? We'll let the chat fill up a little bit, folks, and then we're gonna get to it. We got some work to do tonight. I'm telling you right now. So, how many of you, by show of hands, well, that sounds ridiculous, how many of you watched the show last night, the alien discussion? We didn't know what to name it. We were going to call it the UAP, but that's like, everybody thinks of unidentified aerial phenomenon. That sounds boring, because honestly, if you just had a discussion about UFOs, it is boring. Mm-hmm. Like, I literally watched a show about UFOs. And I was in my study, and I was like, I'm going to check this out. And it was sent by, it's not important who sent it. I don't want to say, because the person would be mean, but they sent it to me. I already told her, I was like, this is not for me, And she's like, well, check this out. This is actually a really good documentary. It might help you with your project. I was like 10, 11 minutes in, and I was like, and finally I fell forward, and I was like, almost hit my computer. And I said, okay, this is getting dangerous. I can't, The aliens ain't abducting me. I'm just about to fall asleep and hit my head. So I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, out of all of the paranormal subjects, I would have to say that UFOs are a funny thing, because they're the ones that I fear, I think, the most, because the idea of something just taking you away with no control terrifies me. But also, a lot of the stories start to have a lot of similarities between them. Mm-hmm. So out of all the paranormal, they're like my least interested one.
Well, I got one for you.
Okay, let's hear it. Well,
I'm waiting for people to fill in the chat.
Oh, gotta fill up, guys. Call up the paratroopers. Pay your cult fees.
Yeah, we're Artistic Bunny's paying hers. Thank you for that donation. What'd she give us? $6.99. That's not the cult fee. The cult fee is how much is the cult fee?
The fee is 5 easy low payments of $19.99.
There you go.
And one firstborn child.
Yeah.
I don't want the responsibility of taking care of that. So sorry, folks. I don't need your kids. But if you have a good working dog, I'm in the market. I'm looking for a Mastiff puppy. I've raised them before, and they can be a lot of work, but they're also very rewarding, because they will love and protect your family and your other pets if they grow up with them. But they will also destroy anybody that intrudes. And I mean, they will destroy another mean male dog, or they will destroy a person that comes onto your property. So that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm in the market for that. If you got one of those, let me know. A good Mastiff. I've had a couple in my life, and they are pretty much, they can be land sharks. I mean, I had somebody telling me the other day about their pit bull, and I said, that pit bull ain't going to do nothing. A really well-trained Mastiff will destroy that. They're basically like, an oversized pit bull that will actually not turn on you. It's the truth. My dog destroyed pit bulls like it went nothing, dude. And I had a couple people trying to say they were going to, steal him or whatever, kind of jokingly, and I was like, yeah, my dead body. The sad thing is, though, that somebody did take my German Shepherd, and the Mastiff was inside, and the person that was babysitting or house sitting, whatever, they left my German Shepherd in the backyard muzzled. So that sucked. So yeah, one of my German Shepherds got swiped like that, and he was just a little pup. He wasn't very old, and that was horrible. I come home and he's gone. And I talked to one of the neighbors who was a big old pothead, and he's like, "Well, I saw him in the backyard. He was muzzled, and then he was whimpering." So he goes, "I went inside, took a shower, and then I was like, I came back out. I was going to go unmuzzle because he wasn't. He just barked, whatever." And because he was a puppy, but he looked bigger,
Mm-hmm.
So the gas guy would come and check the meter, the electric people. They were scared of him. And I couldn't let him in the house because he would tear up everything. He was still young, And so my neighbor, who's a really nice guy, who's a pothead, we got a little bit of a description of the vehicle that we think did it. It was a white van. We had a partial plate, but we couldn't prove anything. And then about 2 years later, I found out that the one of those guys who I think that he was somebody that came to my house with another friend. And I'm not going to lie to you, man. I took my anger out on the friend. I'm not going to lie to you. Yeah. Gave him a good couple little taps. It wasn't my fault. Yeah, your friend did it,
Good old-fashioned talking to.
Yeah, I had a good old-fashioned talking to. He didn't believe that his friend did it, and then like a year later, he got busted in the dog fighting ring. So I can only imagine what they did to my dog. So that was a very sore spot for me. And I never saw those people again, but thank God for them, and probably for me too, because it probably wouldn't be. I'd probably be in jail. Because I love animals. I love my dogs. I love my cats. I love my little attack pig. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he
man.
attacks food on the floor.
He is so sweet, like as an animal. Like he could be so if he wanted to. Mm-hmm. And our puppy Bean, she's not a puppy, she's a year old, but she's real rambunctious and she wants to play all the time. And they got into it the other day and she bit him. And he just sat there squealing and crying and didn't do nothing back. And I was like, Truffles, you could beat her ass,
Yeah.
And he doesn't. He won't. He just runs away and won't fight. If I was him, I'd be like, tusks. But
He kind of just has his method of standing still until he turns invisible.
he thinks he turns invisible.
Yeah.
It's like today when we pushed him out of the office.
Yeah.
Me and you were talking, and as me and Anthony were trying to talk, and we had the doors open. And you know how it is, Tony, there's double doors.
Yeah.
So they all just came piling into the room and were wandering around, jumping on everything. And I said, no, you go, get out, go, whatever. Knocking papers down and stuff and jumping on everything. And I said, this is not playtime, And Truffles, when he finally, he pushes him out and then he turns and he faces my bathroom, the bathroom for the office. And he stands there. And he's looking to see if we see him. And we're like... You're not invisible, dude. Because in the wild, they'll do that. They'll stand still. And so that he thought he was hiding. Or
If I don't make noise, he won't notice me.
And you touch him and he goes, because it's like he's been discovered,
Nelly said he found a piece of celery earlier. He comes walking in, chewing on it. Just randomly comes walking in the room, chewing on celery.
He just comes. The other day, he had the tennis ball in his mouth, and he dropped it in front of me. And so I didn't know what he wanted. So I thought, dude, he's seen Beans, and because Elvira, Beans, and Baby, they will all play fetch. The only one that doesn't fetch is Banjo. Banjo, he don't fetch. The other three, they'll all fetch. That you throw something, they'll go get it and bring it back to you. They'll throw something, go get it, bring it back to you. And we didn't even teach him this. Like, I think Elvira did it, and then the other two learned, our Baby did it, and the other two learned from her.
Yeah.
So he brings me the little tennis ball, which is actually the cat's toy. And I was wondering why Martis was running around behind him, swiping at his face, but I guess he wanted his tennis ball. He didn't want to play with it until someone else grabs it.
Yeah.
Then he wanted it. So then I went over to him and I said, "What's up, buddy?" So I took the little tennis ball and I bounced it, and I thought, oh, he's going to go chase after it. He turned and he just looked at it. And then he walked over to it and he looked at it, and then he picked it back up and wandered off with it. There was no fetch. I've worked with him a little bit, because I'm always out there on the phone talking to people, and anybody who's talked to me, like giving me your stories, or if you're, one of my colleagues, you probably heard, Truffles, making noise or whatever in the background. And so he'll come up to me and he'll drop stuff in front of me, but he will not go after it.
Yeah.
Like if I throw it, he looks at it like, why'd you do that? Because now I got to walk over there and go get it. And I'm like, well, why did you drop it in front of me? And we can't figure out what's going on. I don't speak pig, and he doesn't speak human. So we're trying to bridge the language barrier there, folks. It's a work in progress, but he's a sweet little dude. He's a cool guy. Doesn't cause any problems for anybody. And then the birds. Did you teach him a new song?
No, I mean, it's hard. Like I tried to teach them. I tried to change it up and start whistling Andy Griffin, but that didn't take. And then there's a song called "The Russian Sailor's Dance" that we used to play in band in high school that always stuck in my head, and I whistled that to them, but that didn't stick either. So
yeah. Well, somebody taught them so because they're over there, and I thought it was the Police Academy tune, dun 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 dun, because they were whispering.
I think what it is that it's a mix between mine and Anthony's, because like I'm trying to teach him "Old MacDonald Had a Farm" and "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star." So
you really are trying to teach them that?
Yeah, I sing it to him.
Oh yeah, because y'all's parrot would sing that.
Yeah.
Sing
Your parrot was badass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing I liked about your parrot the most was how she would attack your sister.
Yeah, she just was an anti-woman.
Yeah, she didn't like.
She was a female, and she was the only woman I needed. Yeah.
She liked your mom. Beyond that, though, she hated your little sister.
And all my sisters.
Especially the little one.
Yeah.
Because she would always pick at her, and then eventually the tables turned. Every time she went by her, she was like trying to get her, and I would laugh the way she would. Because she would terrorize the pets. I remember when she suplexed the puppy, and they went flying up in the air, and I saw your mom just come running out of the room like a banshee. Mm-hmm. And I kept telling her, I said, don't jump up and down on that with that puppy. And then when the puppy yelped, boy, Dow came out like fist of fury, dude. And I told her, I said, and then she got her butt whooped. And I said, what do you think was going to happen, kid? I mean, I kept telling you to stop doing that. And she's like, well, the puppy does not enjoy it. Look, the puppy is terrified of you. Puppy would run. What was his name? Rico? Chico? What was his name?
Yeah, it was Rico.
Rico. He ran and hid under your bed. Anyways, folks, so I love animals. We love animals here. We were going to bring the new one. We were going to bring Honey Butters. Honey Butters is still getting used to being picked up and messed with. She's really cool. She's really sweet. But then for some reason, just no reason, like you'll be holding her, and she'll just grab onto you with her claw. And I'm
I don't pick her up at all.
Dude, I've picked her up a few times. Like today, I picked her up because she was sitting on my bench, and I had to go and sit down. And I said, "Look, you got to go." And she dug onto the bench, the cushion. So I tried pulling on her, and she was dragging the bench. She was like this. And I looked over, and I see Panzer and Marta's both sitting there looking at her like, "You should just let go. Just let go. Yeah. It's not going to work." And finally, she let go, and then she goes, "Yeah," and I just dropped her.
Yeah, she loves that bench.
She was fine. Then she was okay. Then she turned and looked at me like, "You're so mean," and took off. But she's cool. She's a really, really.
She's sweet, but she's not like.
I have one, but it's just overhead. Like she's looking down. She's looking down at me from upstairs.
She's the sweetest little.
She's
cat.
Sweet, but she does not like being picked up. Panzer and Martis are extreme. Like they don't care.
She was a rescue.
Yeah,
that's why she's the way she is. So speaking of cats, the first story we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to get started here. We're at $2.99. Check out the show from last night. We did it with James Bartley, Jason McLean, and Chris James. It was a 4-man panel, and we're going to have another one this coming Friday or Saturday, same time, 8 to 10. We're going to have Truth and Bass on from Impromptu Truth. It's going to be really good. And maybe Chris James is coming back. I'm not real sure. But and then the week after that, we're going to have Chris Garitano come on and talk about the alien connection with the Montauk Project. It's going to be good, dude. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. I said it last night, and I'll say it again. I think this is going to be one of the most important projects we've done. Because we're talking about a lot of stuff. We're really getting in there and getting after it. And I think it needs to be done. It needs to be said. I mean, I know Dogman is cool. Bigfoot's cool, to do and talk about. Ghosts and whatever. But this is going to do something that's going to help you come to terms with some things. Maybe we can get some answers and we get enough people involved. We're going to have Chris Kramer, Robert Kreider, who else? Daniel Jones, Christopher Jordan. There's going to be a lot of people involved in this project. We had Nick Redfern, but of course he had to go. And it was something that me and Nick Redfern had originally come up with. Right before the conference, we were talking about it, and we had agreed, and it was Nick that asked me to write a book with him, to co-author a book with him, which I was honored, because the only one I know of that he's co-authored was Brad Steiger. and he read, and this is the true story. Nick read the Bigfoot book, and he gave me a bunch of just, what do you call it, compliments.
Yeah.
And he said, dude, he goes, we need to write a book together. But he had mentioned that before. And he was looking at it from an angle of he does the UFO part and I do the cryptid part. And we were going to try to figure out how to put it together. But that was way back in 2020. And then we decided that we were going to do it. We were going to do it, and then the pandemic hit, like right after we talked about it. It was like literally the 2 weeks later, everybody's like, oh, we're in a lockdown, whatever. And then in 2022, we revisited it. And that's when the conference came. And then I stayed in touch with Nick, of course. And we decided, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to get this done. And then his dad got ill. We were halfway into, And so now I have half of a book. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But it's there, It's there. But Nick, really good guy. Pray for him. Pray for his dad. He's going through a lot. He's really struggling. He's trying to help his dad. And so I really want to offer up prayers. And here's my shirt. Somebody said the other day they can't see my shirts. There it is. Werewolf's Waffles. That's what it says. So everybody's like, hey, we like your shirts, but we don't really see them. So I'm going to make sure that I show you. And I'm thrilled that people actually care to look at the shirts or whatever. It's become a part of the show. Barton, hey, what's going on, Barton? How's it going? It was really interesting too because Barton had his show on that was Aliens, Demons, and Dogman, and it came on right before our show, and so I thought that was a really cool way to lead into it. Go check out Barton. So he's doing good work. He's on Wednesdays now. And he's going to be on every day. What, Wednesday, 8 o'clock?
I believe so.
Yeah, and then we do 7 o'clock before that. Now, I am going to be on some shows coming up. I'm going to be on a show with, I think, Rivos. I'm going to be on Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I'm going to be on Texas Front Porch. Of course, I'm going to be on Blondes and Booze every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Every Thursday, go to Blondes and Booze, and we'll be on there for a while. And then I'm supposed to be on with Gary Brand. I don't know. I've agreed to several different people's shows because they're my friends.
Expect a lot of PRT on other people's show.
Yeah, so I'm going to be on a lot of different shows, and that's not by design. That's just how it goes. So I've been asked, and yeah, I want to help out my friends, and I really want to, I am also taking a lot of heat for that. People are talking about, I'm getting sick of seeing you. I'm tired of hearing you. I don't want you, blah, 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 and whatever. This one guy left a particularly nasty comment on Blondes and Booze. But that guy, he's one of those people that, like, he shows up wherever I'm at and then says something really mean and nasty. And I was like, dude, you're the one that shows up.
So he's tired of seeing you, but he can't stop following you.
Yeah, I looked, and I didn't see him, like, commenting on their other shows. He just showed up to hate on me.
That's like when you're a little kid and you have a crush on someone, you just picking on them and picking on them and picking on them. But it's really because you just like them. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Well, this what was it that you said yesterday? It was like these little, like they're, what was it? The way you worded it yesterday. These people
what were we talking about?
They're attacking us. They're like standing in the way of progress. But I can't remember how you worded it.
Oh, I think I said like that. There's all these little, like, because I was thinking about like feudal Japan, and I was like, there's all these little clans, and that they all want to keep their sovereignty, their autonomy, this and that, and they just want to stand in the way of progress and not be unified with anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and lead follower, get the hell out of the way. And I said this last night, I don't care to be the boss or the leader of anything. It just, what ends up happening is it's not being done correctly. So you do it yourself. But then that leads to a bunch of people hating you because they didn't think of it themselves. Thank you, Tom. They didn't think of it themselves, so they're resentful and angry about that. And then they don't have the talent, so they're resentful and angry about that. Most of the feedback for my wife's songs has been good. Then I had this one person who, and it's not one, it was a couple, And the only reason I'm going to even entertain it is because of how ridiculous it is. This guy says, it's not enough. I'll have to go and find it. But the guy says something to the effect of, it's not enough that you write these books, which he says suck, by the way. I don't believe you read them. But then he says, you're on every day of the week and you're on other people's shows pushing your obnoxious views and your arrogance and your rotten, something about opinions, not rotten, he used another word, something about my opinions sucking and all this stuff, and passing them off as facts. And then they said something like, now you have your wife making obnoxious music. So...
Well, the only way you hear that music so up to this point is if you watch
they listen
the show.
to the show. So I was like, I said, sir, are you an avid listener of Paranormal Roundtable? He says, hell no. And I said, then how do you know all this? He's like, I've seen you a couple times. That's enough.
Well, you're up to date with everything we do.
When I get this, I asked him, I said, so what is your idea of a good show? And he names two of the doofuses. And I'm like,
Oh, okay.
I said, sir, you're living in the dark ages. Okay. You are, and stop for a second and just think about that. Think about the people that actually don't listen to us or any of our affiliates, any of our associates, that they only listen to them. There are people that do that. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you stop and you think about it, dude, it's not even, I'm not even joking. I'm not trying to be cute or funny. That is sad. I mean, it is, if that's all they listen, they are not getting anything. They're getting crap. What does it stand for again?
What is it?
Crusty reject.
Crusty rejects against paratroopers.
Yeah.
Oh man, the crusty rejects against paratroopers, and they have their own little army of people that don't. Folks, consider yourself fortunate that you know about all these. You know, I feel bad for them. I don't even dislike them. I feel bad for them. I feel like they're being cheated. You know,
I mean,
they really are. Yeah. Thank you for that donation, Liberty. Who else donates? We can get it.
I mean, that's why I say, like, the worst thing is self-imposed ignorance. I think that's kind of like in a similar stance right there.
I can't see any other. Were there any other donations? I don't know. Do I need to?
Yeah, there were some. Let me see.
Yes, see, Liberty did it right. He gave a $20 donation. So, that's your cult dues, folks.
We have Wind and Friends, $2. She says he or she says for truffles. I'll make sure to tell Truffles it's from you, and I'm sure he'll be happy.
I'll give him that $2.
He does need some new toys,
and he'll eat it.
Yeah. He only has that little thing that goes.
Yeah.
No, he has that little half ball that you put food inside.
That's the one I'm talking about. It makes a
No, there's two of them.
Oh, there's two?
There's one that makes like a little
the one that I put his food in, and like he'll just nuzzle it with his nose, and his food will fall out of it.
And then the other one with the string?
Yeah.
The other one's a ball that like makes a noise when you roll it.
Where's that at? I don't think I've seen that one lately.
It's in the kitchen.
I thought the dogs played with it. I thought it was a dog toy.
No, he likes to move
I mean,
around.
he's the only one who...
I think it's because any toy where he can move with his nose, he likes that.
And we have Susie Jago of $20. She says, working on Colt Fee. Joanne Hartnett, she bought a member. She became a member for 2 months. Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne.
And Artistic Bunny, $7 Canadian. She says, hey, Josh and PRT, sorry I've been away. I apologize. Life unfortunately got in the way. You missed everyone dearly. So thank you, everyone.
Well, you got to do what you got to do. Now you got to catch up.
Life be doing that.
Yeah. So where do we start, folks? I'm going to let the audience decide. We have a lot of stories here. We have a crawler story.
Cat story.
We have the crawler story is very interesting because it actually comes from behind the woods, where I was at. But kind of off. It's like it's not the very next lot over. So where I was at on Monday, I want to talk about that for a minute. Where I was at on Monday. Yeah. Weird stuff. Okay. What did that thing get labeled? It's called something in the woods, or there's what is it called?
What is
There's something in these woods. The one from Monday.
Let me see.
Let's get the exact name of that because I got to tell you a few things. And of course, they trolled me about that too. At the end there was some loud bird, and they were like, "It's a mockingbird." Well, I don't know what it is. I don't give a shit. But they said, "Oh, he was terrified of it." Yeah, if you watch the video, when the bird's making noise, I'm like, "I'm so scared right now." No, I wasn't. Nature.
Okay. You titled it, "What is in these
Nature,
woods?"
Scary. What's called? What is it? What is in these woods?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did an impromptu live. Let's start with this. I did an impromptu live on Monday. I don't know the exact date of that. Y'all can look it up for me, please. And yeah, snot bubbles and everything. I totally just, I pee-peed myself. I totally pee-peed. I had to sit there and smell urine. Was it the whole day?
That was, okay, it was the night of January 30th.
That is slander. Swope. He did not cry like a baby. He cried like a grown adult. All right.
Reading the comments here. Let's see what we got.
We have a $5 super chat from Jennifer. She says, "You're one of my favorite channels. Thank you for what you do and the mods. You're all appreciated." Well, thank you as well, Jennifer. It's very nice of you.
So here's what happened. Shane Clucker at your service. So before, when I first got to the job site, which was Monday, January 30th, and like I said, as soon as I arrived, I promptly urinated myself because I was so scared. And, I ended up, having to deal with, that horrible wetness and smell down there because I can't help it. I pee myself regularly. I'm a bundle of nerves and I'm terrified. I'm like, hello. I do that all the time. That's how I act in real life. I'm very not confident, not self-assured. This is all an act. It's all an act. And I'm terrified. I'm just shaking all the time. I really, my friend had a Belgian Malinois that did that. Like, his name was Frenzy. He was always like doing that. And I was like, what's wrong with your dog? He's like, he's got anxiety. I said, I can tell. It's giving me anxiety. That's pretty much me. That's how I am most of the time. That's how I roll. I'm just that way, man. I like the smell of ammonia. So I just pee on myself, just regularly. But if you let the enemies tell it, I was there just scared to death and was pee-peeing myself, like I said. But here's what happened. I get there in about 30, 40 minutes, all sincerity here. I was like, I want to know what these guards are doing. If you weren't a part of that live stream, it went on for 4 or 5 hours. And since then, I have been given probably 15, 20 different, I didn't count, but I'm assuming it's about 15, 20 different timestamps where people heard things in the background. Some of it I missed. There was this one thing that kept making this noise that was kind of like, like a weird, and I can't do it. I can't make the sound that this thing was making, but it sounded like a hyena. And it was crazy. Like within, like I said, 30, 40 minutes of being there. Now, Tony, it's good to have Tony on the show because you started that account.
Yep.
And multiple things happened to you there. And you talked to us. You were the first one, and you said, hey, you didn't say, hey, these woods are haunted, but you said,
hey, it's weird over here.
It's weird over here, yeah. And so the first night we went by there, the first time it was me and Nellie, and then Anthony, you checked on him, and he told you the same thing, that there was some weird stuff going on, but you weren't running for your life or anything. But you're vindicated now because since there was Scorp, D, who else? Kenny, Clark.
I think everybody has worked there at least one point.
Everybody that's worked there, Jim reported a bunch of weird stuff in there. So everybody who's worked there, and Jim's probably listening right now. He listens to the show. He's working right now at one of our sites called Brown. But everybody reported weird stuff. So I figured, and I had been there for a couple of hours, hanging out with my brother, hanging out with you, whatever, and not a whole lot happened. So on the night of Monday the 30th, I decided to put up or shut up. I went over there and I parked in the creepiest place in the creepy place. Now let me give you some backstory real quick. If you don't know what that is, we call it the Wall. We call it the Wall because the homeless people were so bad in that wooded area back there that we didn't have a choice. In order for us to be able to get the place under control, we had to add a guard. And then they added another guard. Then they added another guard. And then we had 2 more in the daytime. So it became a 7-guard-a-day post. Now, think about that, folks. The place from east to west is, I'd say, well over 200 yards.
It's actually kind of massive.
It's massive. And then I would say deep north to south, it's probably close to 200 yards.
On a hillside, pretty much.
Yeah, from the hill all the way down, then the bottom of the hill, and then it goes down more. So when you're on the eastern side of this place, which is the northeastern side, you were in the most desolate spot. Now, we used to call it the perch, the eastern perch. And the guard would sit up on the second floor. It's 3, there's bottom floor is the garage, second floor, third floor. So the guard would sit up on the second floor of one of the vacant units and just watch. And like clockwork, just about every other night, if not every night, somebody would come walking through there. And then the guard would radio to the other people and say, hey, we have an intruder. First thing that would happen is the camera's alert system, which has been in place for the past 6 months, would be like, rah, rah, rah. But think about it. We've had this site for almost 2 years. In fact, it is 2 years. It's been 2 years. Yeah. So those cameras have only been in place since April. So that's April, May, June, July, or late April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So about 8-9 months. I'm wrong. So before that, though, you just had to watch, okay? You had to watch. And the homeless people that would come through there. Now, we had some weird things happen. I talked about this during that live. Go back and watch the live. And one of the things that we had happen was the first time it happened, it was really weird. We had a female guard there, and her and one of the other guards had to literally try to discourage a homeless person from coming and jumping the wall. They were like, no. They're like, please, call the police, arrest me, do whatever you got to do, or just let me pass through. And it scared them. And they were like, what? Why? And they were like, he's like, there's something in those woods. Now, the first time that happened, that was last summer. Then it happened again. And now during the show, when I was on there talking about it on the live, I mentioned that it had happened a couple of times. Well, we went back and looking through reports and stories, it's happened over a half dozen times that homeless people have cut through that property. They've cut through the property a lot, but telling the guard, please just let us go through. We don't want any trouble. We're sorry that
you just pass through it.
Yeah. And they want out of those woods. So when I was there, I was sitting there and I within 30-40 minutes, I got comfortable and I was sitting there and I heard noises like you wouldn't believe. I felt like if I'm going to send someone to do a job, I'm not going to send you to do it if I can't do it myself. And so I went there and I sat and I watched post, and it did not disappoint. Well, depending on how you look at it. I heard what sounded like a hyena. I don't know how to describe it. I've heard hyenas in the wild. I've actually heard hyenas. This, I can't say it was a hyena. I don't know what it was.
But it sounded like that laughing that the hyenas do.
It was like you know how the hyena will go over and over. This was like 1, 2, and then there was a like that, and it was just like 1, 1, 1, and then I heard what sounded like this ferocious large dog barking, and then there was this just very distinct wolf-sounding howl that was long and drawn out, like how you would think a werewolf would sound in the movies. Like literally, like if you're watching The Wolfman or, you know, The Howling or some take your pick, Dog Soldiers, I don't know. Sound like a damn werewolf. And I heard that 3 or 4 times, and I was like, what the freaking heck is that? Then I heard movement down at the base of the wall, and now it's a good 15-foot drop. And I go over there to that particular spot, and I see somebody kind of, and I think it's a person, and they're hunkered down underneath some brush. Now, my question is why they would come so close to the wall. Now, in order to get over, you would have to go over a cement wall with the top of it being a black wrought iron fence. You would have to jump that. Then you would have to scale at certain spots, not every, in the middle between the east and the west.
Yeah, that's like the hardest part to get
There's
to.
a fence, yeah. They would have to go over a large fence.
Mm-hmm.
But what gets me is they will still go toward the hardest part, which is the western side. The western side's heavily fortified. It has 3 camera units that scream and yell at you and light up and whatever. It's got the cement wall, it's got the wrought iron fence, and it's got a chain link fence. Now, why would you go through all that trouble? And it's lit up. When until like last week, until last Thursday, there was no electricity in the eastern building, and there's only one wall to scale. That was my question on the follow-up. I did a follow-up on that. Go check that out, and you'll see. It's I don't know, man. Why would you do that? Why would you go through all that trouble if you were a homeless person looking to get out of the cold and to just go into a unit? Why would you go and walk into the western side where on that western side, there's always a guard right there in a patrol car, right? After you get through all the fortifications, and then you have to go through those cameras screaming, yelling at you and lighting you up, then you're going to have to face a guard. And then about 40, 50 yards up from him, there's another guard. Common sense would dictate you would go around the dark side where nobody's going to see you, at least, you know. And that didn't happen a lot. And that was odd. The guards on the perch didn't report a lot of activity over there. It was people that they would see come running up, throw their bags over the wall, and then start to jump it. And it was odd. It was odd because it was almost always exclusively on the western side. It didn't make sense to me. And it still doesn't. Anthony made some reasoning, I can't remember what it was, he said, you know, on that follow-up. I don't agree. I don't agree at all, because if it was me and I walked, imagine, Tony, if you're walking up, and you know how big it is, but say you walk up and the eastern side is dark, and you're looking for a place to bunk for the night. Mm-hmm. That's the easier target. You don't see the guard either. They would not know that there's a guard there. You can see the guard from the western side, and you can see it all lit up, and you can see there's those loud siren cameras, whatever, and then you have all the walls there, and they still choose to scale all that, jump over, face 2 guards. I mean, it's trespassing. I mean, you know, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Anthony's excuse was that, hold on one second. I don't mean to interrupt. But Anthony's excuse is that they're so used to doing whatever they wanted that they would just go through there, but not there. They are not used to doing what they want there because we would always challenge them. So I don't think that holds water. I really believe that even the ones that aren't saying it, I think that they're trying to get away from something that's in those woods. And having been there on Monday, well, I could tell you there was a lot of weird stuff going on in those woods. What were you going to say, Tony?
Well, I was going to say criminals are funny because they're both very stupid and also very smart. So, like, doing something like that, like, they obviously have eyes and they'll see everything that's over there. So, you know, they're stupid because they're lazy, but they're not even lazy to a point to where they'll go through that much trouble just to, you know, struggle for all that just to maybe get into a unit. Doesn't make sense, especially when you have a very obvious, very non-defensible, dark area that anybody can climb through. So, I mean, I tend to disagree with you as well, Anthony, because these guys are useless, but they are, you know, have this stupid, what is it, maleficent type,
Malignant.
malignant type of ingenuity within them to
malicious, maybe. Go ahead.
Yeah, malicious, but they have it in them to really come up with some stupidly creative things. You know, we've seen it doing security, so
That's all they use their brain for, is like criminality.
yeah, pretty much. So like them doing something stupid like that just doesn't make sense to me. And for them to do it repeatedly, I think that means they don't even go to that eastern side. So whatever's in that eastern side, they don't even bother going over there.
Yeah, they don't even, and it was the easier side because until like 3 months ago, the wall was incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
That was the weak side. You could go up what we call the bowl.
It was like a chain link fence.
You could walk up the bowl and move the chain link fence and just go up it before the wrought iron and the cement was put in. It's really ridiculous that you have to have all that there, but to keep these people out, yes, you do. And when I was there, I witnessed somebody going, and in the morning I saw them there. They were camped out there. And you don't see that on the video, but yeah, that was a person, and they crawled right up to the edge of the wall and they camped. And it's a weird thing. Unless there was something deeper back in those woods, why would you walk right up to the edge of that and camp in the... I mean, they were camping in the shadow of the building, basically, and with the light on them. Now, if it was me, yeah, I would... I'd go toward... I mean, because think about it. What would you rather do? Would you rather face the security guards and the sirens and the lights and all that? Or would you, risk going to jail for trespassing or whatever? Or would you rather be destroyed by whatever is back there?
Yeah.
I could take it.
Anthony made an analogy like Game of Thrones. It's not been lost on us. Hadrian's Wall and the Romans and the Celts, and we all wear black there too, so that they can't whatever, we can catch them. Most of the sites we wear gray now, but I don't know. It's a weird thing. Everybody there just started wearing the old black, and they didn't switch over like everybody else. That site just kind of stayed black. If it was me personally, like if I walked up and I saw the eastern side and I saw the western side, and you're facing, south, and you're a traveler or whatever, I would look and I would see all those cameras and those stations with those sirens. And I would see the built-up wall where you have to actually go over and then scale the chain link wall. I mean, it's a no-brainer, dude. Like, you're just going to go to the eastern side and then maybe kick in a door or see if something's unlocked and try to camp out and sleep for the night.
Well, and I've been, like, back when the only time I actually really worked there was when they were first building it. Like, I think they just had the foundation slabs down, and I was there during the day, so I went back in those woods. And like they actually should, like, it's a lot easier to go on the eastern side instead of the western side, because there's a trail that goes from in those woods, and it goes up a hill, and from that trail you can get directly from the woods to the street, like you can get right to William Cannon from that trail.
That's
you just have to go up a hill, and like you're not even cutting through the property. You're just going, because the trail is next to the property. It's not on it. So
that's where they had the trailer for the supers. Mm-hmm. So he had a way to walk the entire property all the way down that hill without having to go all the way around. Mm-hmm. So he had that. So it never made sense to me. And you can access that trail from the street. So it's pretty obvious.
Yeah. So you'd think that they would just go that way, but they just keep cutting on the western side of the property.
Yeah, the eastern side would be so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But having sat on the eastern side, now I know why. At least I think I know why. That person that came and sat there, they're no dummy. They heard what I heard, and that's why they walked up, and they chose to camp underneath that brush. And they tried to hide down up in there, and they weren't hiding from me. I don't think they gave two shits what I was doing. I think they were just hiding from whatever was in those woods. Sorry for the cursing, folks.
If it weren't so dangerous, it would be like a really cool project just to like interview local Austin like homeless people and like just ask them, because they spend like pretty much their whole lives just going in places where they're not supposed to be.
Well, we actually have interviewed them.
Well, yeah,
not me, but Scorpion and Zane did.
Yeah, but I mean like like a whole like a dedicated project to just like homeless local like horror stories.
And learning about the cannibalism and everything else that we've been hearing
and
about.
like the supposedly tunnels under Austin and stuff.
No, there ain't no supposedly there is.
Yeah.
I mean the old I mean if you go to where Chuck, remember Chucky used to work for us. If you go to Hancock Center, you know, where 24 Hour Fitness is right there. I mean, that's where the old City Hall was back in 1889. And since the 1870s, it was underground. It was built down in. There's tunnels all underneath the city of Austin, folks, and the homeless people access them. Of course, they're going to access them. Yeah, somebody says P. Gene 63, the howling hyena bird thing. The bird thing, there were a couple different bird things. There was something that was making a weird shrieking noise from the woods, and some people heard it on the show. Some people heard the howling. And then later in the show, there was like this loud bird-like thing, and I'll play it for you. I got made fun of because I was like, what is that? It's not like I was running in terror, but my enemies are so lame that they'll... anything that they can come up with to badmouth me or talk crap or whatever, they're going to do it. So they had to run the mouths and say whatever. But the fact of the matter is, there wasn't. You can't really say what it was. I know I couldn't tell you what it was. I don't know. And if you don't know how to navigate this, and I'm going to say this because some people don't. So what you do is, when you go and you type in Paranormal Roundtable, hit that little icon at the top. It's right here, right? Yeah, hit that.
They might not be able to see from the angle.
Let me see if we can. Oh, can't do it. Here you go. I can do it, but I wasn't doing it. See that little icon right there? You hit that right there, and then it takes you, like it'll take you where you need to go. Because I've had some people asking me, how do I get to certain episodes to watch? So that's one way. And then it'll go right here. And then you see, folks, where it says videos, you go to videos right there. And then it'll take you to all of our podcast episodes, which are on here too. But then if you want to go to the lives, you hit live at the top. And then it'll go down and see. And we'll go down to the live. This episode was called What is in These Woods? And you can hear it like toward the end of the show. It's pretty much just right there. I said, so is it, am I going to make more money than that? We're going to have to talk Ken into doing it again. Because he takes it seriously. He gets so stressed out. I told him, thank you for that donation, Valerie, Jennifer, who else? I'm just loose, man. You know, I go into the conference just swinging my arms up and down like 10 felonies on us. I mean, come on, dude. Yeah, they want to start talking about. See if I can find that. He's walking straight me out there. Okay, that's what I'm driving. I didn't know shit about it, you know. It was 20. He'd already written a book, and it was pretty good, you know. Gotta help people. I'm sure my enemies time-stamped it because they made a big old thing about it, you know, a couple of them. The time that they have, dude, it's amazing. They have so much time. The one guy, didn't you say he was on for 5 hours?
Yeah, he was on for 5 hours, just rambling, saying nothing. And there was like, I think the most people I saw in there was like 11 people. And then after he finished a 5-hour rambling session, he went live again for like an hour and a half. So I don't know. It's psychotic. Mentally ill, disabled people.
We provide quality content, and we feel like a family. I also I'm not a clown. He'd always smoking a cigar, and he'd be like, all right, let me tell you. And he'd start telling this story. Well, I'm going to leave it right here. There it is. So you can hear that. Hold on. You hear that? What bird is that? What the hell is that? And if you can see, I'm sitting there laughing about it. Whistle back, because that could be the Lechusa. And the legend is that it's a Lechusa. You're not supposed to whistle back. You're never supposed to whistle at night out in the woods. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, what in the hell is that? And they said that I was terrified of a mockingbird. Now, and you're not supposed to acknowledge that mockingbird, folks. Doesn't sound like a mockingbird to me, and I'm not saying it's something paranormal or spooky, whatever. And it started off west of me, and then it ended up right above me, and I could hear it moving around above me. So it was a bird of some kind, but I couldn't tell what it was. And so they had made up this whole story that I was terrified and that I was scared to death or whatever. If you watch that video, I go on my rounds. I get out of my truck, I walk around, and I'm by myself. I mean, there's guards there, but they're way off on their posts. I mean, I wasn't jumping around scared, going, oh my God, I'm so terrified. There was some weird stuff happening there. Tony can attest to this. When he first started that post, there were a lot of weird noises, a lot of weird things that happened there.
Yeah, it was pretty horrible when I started because it's nice and building up now.
Yeah, but it's got lights.
Yeah, lights. There was even buildings when I was there, so it was just woods and cleared out area and noises and shadows moving around and me inside a car with banjo ignoring a lot of it. So yeah, but I mean that's kind of I'm used to it now. I mean,
it was all woods 2 years ago.
How long have I been doing security with you?
Oh, long time, man.
I mean, for as many years as I've been doing security, I think the only time by now that I was like truly like, oh, this is scary was like the first year. After that, you get used to being in scary places by yourself and you learn to just kind of ignore noises. But I think William Cannon, out of all the ones that was one of the worst. And then this one, when it first started, had a lot of different issues that were like, because you had to walk in the woods to the actual superintendent trailer, and every time you did that, you could see over down the hill, and every time I swear to you, every time I did that, there would be movement down that hill, and I would see it every time, and I would have a flashlight, but I'd always be like, I'm not shining it down there because I don't want whatever's down there to notice me, and it's technically off property, so...
And the homeless people, as we began that project going deeper and building more and more, they began to come out of those woods, with weird stories.
Yeah.
With weird stories, talking about there was stuff in those woods and people would cut through there. Or what they would do is I think they would go into the woods thinking they were going to camp out. And then something would happen and then they didn't camp out. They decided to get the hell out of there. You all right there, buddy?
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening that night, I got to witness it firsthand. So I'm going to tell you a story that I got. If you go about a quarter mile from there is a set of food trucks that is run by some Hispanic people. And they're not all from Mexico. One of them is from, what is the country? It's got the plantains and all that.
Brazil?
No. It's another type of trailer. They're Dominican.
Oh.
There's people there that are Dominican. That they have one trailer, and then there's like some El Salvadorian place, and then there's like another Hispanic place. I don't know what it is, but they run those food trucks there. So I thought, what if they have any stories? Blah blah blah. I just was brainstorming, talking.
Like you normally do.
Yeah, and so I went through and I talked to several of the different guards that don't even work for us anymore, and I messaged them and I said, if you have any stories or anything that you can contribute to this place about what because I've done some research and been doing some investigating. One of our guards used to go there to eat pretty regularly. And I'll call him Rigby. It's not his real name. But we'll call him Rigby. And Rigby would go down there to those trailers. He'd walk down there. Like he was parked at the front. There really wasn't much. The bottom part wasn't even framed yet. And the top part was just framed up, whatever. And so this was like a year and a half ago. And he walked down there and he told me that one night when he was there getting some tacos and then going back up to the top of the hill, which, like I said, at that time was just, there was one framed up building, another one that was, that was framed up in sheetrock. The other one was framed up, and then there was like, because they built like one building at a time, you know, which is a lot of times they'll build them all together, but not this place. They're doing one building, another building, and then the office was partway built, and then there was a trailer, and he talked to a woman down there. And I got this story just a few days ago, and he said that one of them told him that one night when they were closing up the trailer, now this would only be, like I said, a quarter mile down the road, that they saw something moving around in the woods that they at first thought was a naked, homeless white guy, which turned out to be not the case. It didn't have clothes, and it wasn't a guy. It wasn't a man as we would know it. And whatever it was crawling around on all fours. And it literally, when they started to like notice it, some of the patrons that were sitting in the little picnic tables, they all kind of went over there to the edge of the woods and they had a flashlight and they were looking. They started to throw rocks at it, not trying to hurt it, but like to, you know, to
shoot away.
Yeah, to see how it reacted. And it made this shrieking noise, and it scrambled up a tree and then went from the top of that tree to another till it was out of sight. Now, the description of this thing that was given to us from Rigby was that was me. Oh, I was doing that. It was white, pale.
You didn't see a flash of light right now?
Because I'm back like this, so I didn't see it.
Okay, so is that the first time you've seen that?
Okay, I thought I was going crazy. I thought
No, like I didn't see it just now, but I've been seeing it for like the past week every now and then. Like,
yeah, I see that all the time.
what the heck is that?
I already told y'all that.
It's weird. I mean, like, there's nobody. I don't immediately get up and run over there to see if there's anyone taking a picture or what. But there's like a flashlight coming out of the side of my eye from that door. It's weird.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
One time, I'll tell you real quick. I'll tell you a story about that as soon as we're done with this one. So Rigby tells me, he says, "Well, Wolf, what is this all about?" And we're still friends. He works downtown as a bouncer now, and he says, "What is this all about?" And I said, "Well," and he worked there when it first started, and he only worked there for like a few days, a few times, and he's really.
That was a knock, right?
What the heck?
What the heck was that? Okay,
that wasn't me. My hands are up here. Okay, I don't know. You know, go check, but just. You know, we're armed. Okay. Yeah, I see that movement and that flash like all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. When I was doing the Brazilian exorcist thing, I was here by myself, and right behind me, I was hearing knocking and scratching and weird, you know, vocalizations.
I just kept brushing it off, like, well, whatever.
That's all you can do. I mean, what are you going to do?
It's like the ringing in your ear. It was just like, oh, it just must be a flash. But
I'll tell you a story in just a second here that happened to me like maybe 2 weeks ago when I came. You remember when we came here the other day and I came up and you stayed in the truck?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened to me. All right, so anyway, stuff always happens here, dude. But anyway, I'm talking to this guy and he says he got to be really good friends with this one girl there, and he's like, I ain't gonna lie, I just thought she was hot, so I started talking to her. And she was actually from Colombia, but the place wasn't a Colombian joint. It was just she was just there working, you know. And Rigby's like me. He's half Hispanic, half white. And so, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. We can say his name, right? Like, it doesn't, I mean, I'm calling him Rigby because I didn't ask.
I mean, it's your friend, right?
I mean, we're already calling him Rigby. We'll just
stick with it. Okay, whatever. His name starts with an R.
So it doesn't get confusing, yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, he's a friend of mine. He used to train with Deuce. So, you know, he's a fighter or whatever. But he only worked there a few days, but he did tell me a weird story about that place. And I thought it was interesting, and Clark had said something to me about it in passing. He's like, hey, didn't that fighter friend of yours have something happen? So, yeah. And so I said I'm going to reach out to him, so I did. And what he had to tell me was really crazy. One day he was walking back up the hill. And when he got to the top of the hill to go into that site, He's sitting there with his tacos. He goes, I had my headphones in, but only on one ear. And he was a pretty good guard. I've worked him at a few other places. He worked at the one over there on the east side. And he actually stopped a theft one night. I wish we could have kept him, but he trained or whatever. He's a fighter. He had a career or whatever. So he's walking up the hill, and he hears this whistling noise. Whistling noise. And so Rigby, you should have known. He's like me. He's got a Hispanic mom, and he should have been thinking better. He whistled back. When he did, he went around the corner, and he had his dog with him. He had that blue heeler he would take with him. And his dog was growling and flipping out and going crazy. And he was like, had it on the leash, and he was like, what's going on? His dog's name was Mike. But he's like, Mike, what's going on? And Mike was acting a fool. And then he saw the tree, and this was in the summertime, right? He saw the tree like start to shake, right? Just shaking. And then whatever it was jumped. Like he said, it was invisible. He couldn't see it. But he goes, but it moved from one treetop to the other. And he goes, and then he tells me, he's like, you don't remember me telling you that? I was telling you that story one day on payday. And I said, dude, we got to pay 24 people. You know? And they're all trying to tell me a story, okay? Either how they need more hours, or they need less hours, or they want more money, or we didn't give them enough money, or whatever. There's always something, payday, typically. But it's always the same 2 or 3 people causing problems, and then the veterans, the ones that put in all the hours to do the real work, never complain. But so he was one of those people who really never complained. But and I told him, I said, at the same time that was happening, there was another site we had, and I talked about this on the live. There was 2.5 miles further south that was even more desolate and more by itself out there. And that is where we had people saying that they were seeing the weird-looking blue light, the greenish blue light, whatever. Thank you for that donation, tripping up on you. Who else? Sugar Britches. Thank you did Sugar Britches donate? Thank you. What do you do enough for us, Sugar?
Well, they said I'm a member and I'm getting locked out as a non-subscriber. I'm getting really upset about this issue.
Who said that?
Tripping up on you.
You must have gotten unsubscribed. So I'll tell you what, Trip. I think it's tripping up on you. I'm gonna change the settings for the chat just for today's live stream to where you don't have to be subscribed for like 3 days to comment. I'm just gonna do that just for you, all right? So you can comment.
Well, he's commenting already.
Well, the only way he can comment right now is if he does a super chat.
Okay, if you do that, that's going to open the door to abnormal.
No, all those people are blocked.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, because I don't want any of those filthy fives.
No.
Over here and starting a bunch of crap.
No, none of them can comment.
Message D and Scorp. Tell them to get their ass in this chat right now. I don't know what they're doing. Well, Scorp's there, but D's not. Oh, you know what? D's phone is broke. Never mind.
He broke it?
Yeah, it's broken. He's gonna have to talk to Phil. Phil, our cell phone repair guy, is in my book too. He had a Dogman encounter with a friend of mine. It was the owner of a gun store in my hometown.
All right, you should be able to comment now if you want to go ahead and try it. Because I set it to subscribers only. Normally you have to be subscribed for 2 or lately you have to be subscribed for 3 days to comment, but now you only have to be subscribed, so it should work.
Yeah, I don't like that, but thank you, tripping up on you. I it's nothing against you. I don't want the trouble because I know what happens if we open the door to these barbarians and they'll start acting a fool because they have no life. They watch everything we do. What's even more funny is when I was talking to one of them, when we had the press, whatever, I was like, I don't watch your show. He goes, yeah, you do. I'm like, no, I don't. I do not watch their shows. One, I just don't have the time. And 2, I'm not going to give you views. I don't give a crap if they get up there and, I don't care what they do. If they light themselves on fire, and I don't care. I won't watch it. I just refuse to watch anything they do. I don't care. They think that I give a crap and that I go watch them. And it's like, they think we give a crap. Like the Cleggmorn, whatever, was like, you don't even know who I am. And I'm like, I read your comment, Tony. You're like, why do you think anybody cares who you are? I personally don't give a damn who you are. I don't care. Doesn't mean anything to me. It just,
I mean, like I said, I told him, like, we wouldn't care about you if it wasn't for the fact that you harassed us.
you know, it's like they jump up and down to be seen and heard, and the arrogance of the one dude, like, yeah, you do. I'm like, no, I don't. I promise you, I don't watch your show.
I mean, we barely.
I think he's got like 6,000 or 7,000 people, like some subscribers or something like that. And it's like, dude, why would I watch your show? I don't even watch my really good friend shows.
I was just gonna say, you barely have time to watch it. You have to cram in some of those shows for your really good friends.
Exactly. Let me tell you something, folks, and Anthony and Tony can attest to this. The other day, I was leaving the house, and I was like looking at my phone and doing a million things, and Nellie was trying to get me to take it down a notch, whatever. My shirt was inside out. Okay? I was about to leave the house with my shirt inside out, and then another day I almost walked out in flip-flops to go to a business meeting. So I looked down, I'm like, I'm ready to go. Everything's ready. I have on socks, but not shoes. And damn sure not dress shoes. I need to go looking like a professional, and I looked like I was, from the waist down, everything until the feet. It just looked really bad. I mean, if it wasn't for Nelly and some of these other people, because I don't have time to look at your bullshit. I really don't. And it's funny that they think that you give a damn about them enough to do that.
And also, it's like you don't make good enough content for us to watch.
It's abhorrent.
Can't stomach it.
Like it's not even something like we have to be jealous about. It's like, no, you just don't make good content. So,
like our friend the other day, he was like, "What am I looking at?" I said, I don't know what you saw. He calls him the dude from Star Wars, with the I don't like you. My friend don't like you.
Oh yeah.
He's like, what is this? What am I looking at? This guy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he's a filmmaker, so like he doesn't have time to. He's pumping out documentaries. What is he? He's like, Wolf, who is this person? I said, dude, I didn't tell you to go look at this guy. If I said the name, y'all would all know who he is. He's big in this field. But I was having a laugh with him, and he was just like, these people are. I was like, yes, dude, yes, and they're ridiculous. And he's like, I'm gonna go take a shower. So that's where we're at. But anyway, so Rigby, fake name, obviously. He says, he's like, dude, I see something go from one tree to the next, but I can't see what it is. It has no form. Right? Then we have another guard that tells us, who was a new guy who worked one day. Mm-hmm. He worked with Clark, and then he was gone. Like, he was like, I'm not going to work here. And that was when they the first time we had like two, because there was some theft or something, and they said, well, we have one at the bottom, one at the top. We did this whole, whatever. And, what's up, Chris Kramer? How you doing, man? Like I said earlier, Chris is going to be a part of the UAP thing we're going to be doing on Fridays. So this, whatever it was, they see this thing go around the back between what has become the office, the leasing office, right, and the trailer, the boss's trailer, the construction trailer. And it looks like it's something when the car light would go by it because it was close to the road, it would like make a shimmering look to it, and it looked like a prism. So this guard goes over there to use the restroom because that's where the porta-john's at. He just gets in his car and leaves, and then we get a call from our other guard who says, "Hey man, you know how you talk," and he's like, "That guy just left." I don't know why. So the next day, he tells Scorpion, because Scorpion came in. The guy was nice. Like, he came back to the site with his wife. And y'all probably know who he is. He was a Hispanic guy who used to work over at Azul. Mm-hmm. Okay. You remember him? And we were always like, hey, he's not doing his job or whatever. You remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
He worked there one time over there at that site. And, like, he got in trouble, right? So we like, no. So we put him over there, and then he just leaves. So we chalked it up to, well, the guy's not really a good guard. He's not a worker. He doesn't want to work. So maybe that's it. But he was nice enough to come back and drop off Clark's flashlight to Scorpion. No harm, no foul. Right, whatever. Go on your way. We paid him, whatever. Scorpion says he saw something that looked like the Predator. And I'm like, there? Now that was the first like go round. That was before the whole thing happened with Rigby. Then Rigby tells me that, and I was like, I don't remember you telling me that. And I was like, he's like, yes, dude. And there were some other things that happened. He saw like this ball of light down at the bottom of the hill, because when you're at that very top of the hill, especially before they built the east and west, buildings down at the bottom, you could see straight down into those woods from that top of the hill. It was very pretty too, because you could see all the way across.
It was one of my favorite sites.
Beautiful. It's a very beautiful
at sunset. Beautiful.
Yeah, very pretty. But at night it gets really ominous and it gets creepy. And believe me, folks, I was there. It is creepy. And so I feel for the guards. And so he tells me, he says, dude, I see this ball of light bouncing around out in the woods. It's just kind of bopping around, and he's like, and it was green. And I thought, what in the hell is that? That is not he said, but then he says, I shines my flashlight down there. Big mistake. It starts coming toward me. Now, the same thing happened to Scorp, and I know I heard him one day telling you, Tony. Now, I remember this. You were in your room, and Scorp was in there in the doorway, and he was talking about, and Scorp's in the chat right now, talking about the thing that was chewing on whatever. It was making noise. It was crunching, popping, whatever, and then they found a deer carcass. Now, this thing obviously was big enough to chew and crack and snap, crackle, pop, whatever, a deer, but it was one individual. Now, one individual that took down what was essentially a stag was not no small little baby deer. This was not a doe. Weird, okay, because it was eating this thing within earshot of Scorpion. So I think what he said was he put Scorp's in the chat. I think you remember, if you remember what you told me, I think you put a chair, and I said this on the show the other night, that propped up the block, whatever it was that could come through. Now, you got to realize this is a guard shed, right? It's not big. And
made out of plywood.
Made out of plywood. Dee's heard the same thing, but not like that. He's heard what he thought was like noises like what I heard, the weird, whatever. So you got to realize, like, these people are hearing these things. And then we had another guy who works there, and he was there late at night, and he was painting. And he was inside, and he tells Dee that he went into the Porta-John, and he goes, dude, you know how you can look when you're standing up in the Porta-John, you can look through the vents? And you can see out, and he sees something moving through the woods, and he was like, what the hell is that? And it had no form. He couldn't really make it out. It was just brown. And so he comes out, and he jokingly tells Dee that he saw a Bigfoot. He says, hey, man, I think I saw a Bigfoot over there in the woods. And Dee was like, a Bigfoot? And he's like, well, that's funny, because my brother actually does research on that, and we have, and we used to work together on it. We have a show. And he's like, well, I don't know what I saw, but there was something brown over there on that western side. It's where, you remember how the fence used to not go, it wasn't done? Mm-hmm. It just was like halfway, then it stopped. Yeah. He saw it right there, and then it went into the woods. But he said it was weird because it stayed in the wood line, whereas if it was a person, it would have just walked out of the pavement and up the hill. That's it. Boom, you're gone. It didn't do that. It hugged the tree line and went back into the woods. Now, like I said, a person, not going to do that. So you tell me what the hell's going on here, right? And there's more. There's a whole bunch more. There's like reports. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And I kicked myself because I didn't go up there and sit post over there sooner. Well, I also don't have time, and that was not a necessity for me because if I needed to go and work at night, there were 3 other sites that would take priority over that one because those were single-person posts or 2-man posts, and I needed to be there, okay? That post, not a priority. Not a priority in the way that the other ones were because we had plenty of people for that. That is our furthest southern post right now. So everybody who lives south wants to work there. So, yeah, it's easier to staff. That's my point. Anthony, what's his name?
I don't want to butcher his last name. I don't know how to say it.
Thank you for that donation. We appreciate it. Larry, thank you for the donation. Larry Fishers and Sons Roofing, thank you for being a sponsor for so long. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on at that assignment. Let's put it that way. hearing the mockingbird thing or whatever the hell that bird was, it didn't sound like a mockingbird to me. If you were there and you were listening to it, you wouldn't think it's a damn mockingbird. That is basically my enemies just mocking me because they're retards. But no, that's not what was going on there. But I wasn't running in terror. If you watch the video, I stayed put. I did my job, and I actually went out and did my rounds. I walked, and I actually, got out of the truck a couple times. I even triggered the alarm screaming at me, "Hey, intruder, blah, blah."
You have 10 seconds to comply.
Thank goodness it didn't RoboCop me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's so many things that were going on. I was listening. I was hearing so many things. The crawler story was very interesting from the food trucks right down the road. Now, that's interesting that they described it as a shriek because that's what I heard was a shriek. So I'm not saying that what I was listening to was a crawler. I don't know what it was. I have no idea. All I know is we've worked, a couple, and I made the mistake. I said that there were maybe 15, 16 guards there. No. We've worked over 24 different guards there now, especially with the 7-man post. All but maybe 3 or 4 have reported something really odd. If any guard that we have has worked there for over a week, with the exception of one. And that's only probably because I haven't asked her what she's heard. Okay, so everybody else has had something happen to them. They've heard things. There has been a lot of weird stuff happen there. I had another guard that he claimed in the day shift that he was walking and one of the doors just flew open by itself and just was open. And it was like shaking, almost like something was holding it, pushing it. I can tell you this. When I was sitting there in my truck, I kept seeing something to my right, like move, like it was black or something was moving. So it wasn't just, the Scorp says, I heard something moving through the woods tonight before coming back to the post I'm at now. Oh, that's right. You worked the day side over there, didn't you?
Well, no one asked you, Scorp, right? So I'm trying to talk about our stories right now. Jeez.
You need to be careful where you're at too, buddy, because over where you're at, you have Queen Boudica over there and her crazy nihilists.
Oh, watch out, Scorp.
Band of Picts.
The band of Picts. She's crazy. Where Scorpion is at tonight, folks, I'm going to tell you, there is a woman that runs that homeless camp behind there, and she calls herself the president. The president, she's like, I'm the president. I'm the president of the homeless people. I'm like, really? And she gave me a warning. She says, very, very, very politely, and I'm not joking, she's like, you seem like an honorable and nice man. Don't make me kill you. And I'm like, excuse me? And she's like, yes, you seem like a nice guy. I don't want to have to kill you. She's standing with 2 other Mad Max people. And I'm all like, okay, I'll try to stay on your good side. But in the meantime, can you get the F off my property? Because you're criminal trespassing. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to do you that favor. I'm going to do you that favor. We'll see how it goes. I'm like, wow. So we call her Queen Boudica because she thinks she's the boss. And she's crazy. We know that she stabbed at least 2 people because they told us. And she did one of them. She stabbed with what was it? A stick, a spear, a homemade shank or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stabbed him in his side. He comes onto the property bleeding. This isn't the wall. This is another place. Welcome to Austin, folks. They do a good job of trying to hide the seedy underbelly that exists here. But yeah. And so when I talked to my other nephew that worked there for a while, he got kicked out of there because the Bleeding Hearts said that he was being too hard on them. How are you supposed to deal with Tina Turner and Beyond Thunderdome? I mean, they're really telling you that they're going to kill you. I mean, like this lady literally said that.
Yep.
And she was homeless, but she was sitting there eating like a cheeseburger from Whataburger, which ain't cheap, by the way. And she's just like, you seem like a nice guy. I wouldn't have to kill you. I'm just like, oh, okay.
A lot of times, homeless people are not broke. They just choose to be homeless.
They beat the hell out of the last guard that was there before we got there.
Yeah.
The little Snoop Dogg looking dude. They kicked his ass. And so When they turned it over to us, they weren't like, "Oh man, you're taking my job." He's like, "Here you go, sucker." I mean, brother, you know, he throws us the keys and he's gone. You know, I mean, that's where Scorp's at, down on Congress. What's so messed up is in the heart of downtown, there's a homeless camp back there. And they're over there like, who runs Bartertown? All right? I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Yeah. You get too close to them, and it's like, you know, you get too close, man, too close, you know. It's like Dave Chappelle and Dylon, you know.
Yeah.
You're too close, man, too close. I can tell you this, at the wall, which is what it's been dubbed, I didn't make up that term, the guards did, but there's a lot of weird stuff, and people see things really quick, then it's gone, and you hear voices and noises, and you think, oh, it's the homeless people talking, but then when you look, there's nothing there. So it is, I would say it is probably one of the most unnerving places I've been at in the last few years. That was probably one of the most unnerving places I've been. And I've been to a lot of sites, not just job sites. I mean, places where there have been encounters and people have told me stories, including the Hernandez Ranch. And that place right there, that particular spot at that place. Because if you go to the western side, which is all lit up, I didn't feel nothing over. Like, I don't feel scared over there or anything. You're just sitting up in the front. You're just like, you're in that big old, you know, tank of a patrol car. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you're not like worried, you know, like, I don't feel like something's going to happen up there. But when you go back and you go 200 yards to the east and to the bottom of the hill,
It's a different story.
yeah, it's a different story. You feel like something's going to happen to you. Like, any minute, something's going to snatch you up. And so now I could see why the guards want to rotate out. They don't want to stay in that spot. I haven't had one yet that just wanted to stay right there. And so people that talk trash or whatever, why don't you go there? Instead of just wandering around your own property in your backyard going, oh yeah, let's throw a rock and let's see if the Bigfoots come out and just, you know, because it's not going to happen. And you know it's not going to happen because you're in your own property. See some comments here. So here's what happened to me up here the other night. This was probably, see there again, I don't think it was like 2 weeks ago. It's probably like Christmas time, I think probably. But I came up here and there was something I had to grab. And Anthony, you stayed downstairs and it was night. And we were running around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to do whatever, you know, just scrambling around.
Just another day.
Just, you know, but at Christmas time was really. And so I said, I'll be here. And here in this parking lot too, we've had break-ins. You got to lock your vehicle up, even though we have the patrol car, a couple of them here. This is a satellite. Our main office is literally in another town over. And that is where my partner keeps, you know, and then we have 2 that we keep down south, and then we have 2 here, right? So even with the patrol cars here, the squad cars, they still will break into stuff. And it's only happened once as we've been parking them here. But I think once they figured out that the guards come and go through here, they stopped with the bull crap. But then again, I don't want to speak too soon. So come December, I was walking up the steps, and I think it was like right before Maddie and Bettina had come to visit. And I was coming up the stairs, and I was on the phone, and I believe I was on the phone with Barton or somebody. And so I just clicked off. I got off the phone, and no sooner did I get off the phone, and I'm walking, and I look, and there's a square here. It's completely desolate. Like, there's nobody here. Nobody was out here. And at night, there's typically nobody here. There's only one guy downstairs in the tax place down there that works late, especially during tax season. And we'll see him down there burning the midnight oil sometimes. Other than that, you're here, you're on your own, right? So I'm walking up, and I know what it was. I was carrying that Christmas stuff up for Nellie. So I was bringing that up. It's what it was. And Anthony, you were on the phone dealing with one of the guards. So I was coming up the stairs, and then I as I'm walking up to the door, I go to unlock it, And like I said, there's nobody in the courtyard. There's a big courtyard here. There's a fountain. It's real ornate, whatever.
It's always off.
Yeah, it's always off now. There's no noise. And I hear, psh, like that, like somebody goes, psh, like they're trying to get your attention. And I'm standing there, and I'm like, I turn and I look, and I'm like, I honestly thought there was somebody going down the hallway, because there's hallways up top, like in a square, and then there's a big hallways in the bottom, and then there's a courtyard. And then I heard noise like down the bottom by the fountain, and I go and I look down, and I don't see anybody. And then so I go in and I do what I got to do, and I go back out. As I'm walking back out, I hear my name. I don't hear Josh, I hear Wolf. And so I thought, so I kind of jogged down the hallway, and there's like this overhang, whatever, like a, what do you call it? Like
kind of balcony kind of.
Balcony, yeah. And you can look over, and I look down and I see Anthony on the phone in the truck still. And I turned around and I looked, and I was like, that's weird. There's nobody. But something said my name very clearly. It said Wolf. And it kind of said it in like a hushed tone, but loud enough to where you could hear it. Obviously, it was very human sounding, like my name. So I go back down the stairs, and it was whatever. I just thought, well, that's odd. But then after that particular incident, like I've had 3 or 4 different weird things happen in the studio, which I'm not going to get into right now. But I've been seeing this weird like flash or whatever that is that these guys were seeing earlier. I don't know. Could be anything. Who knows? But moving on. So if you're interested in anything about the wall, I actually thought about it. Tomorrow night would be a week since Monday. And I thought about maybe going back up there tomorrow night and just sitting in that same spot and seeing if anything else happens. The only problem is, right now, money's not like tight, but we have things that we're doing with our money.
Yeah, we have plans.
Yeah, we have a lot of things we got to do, which is trying to get out of debt, like everybody else in this damn world. And then you're trying to accomplish some things, like I got to come up with money to get this board game completed. And I got 2 books that I'm trying to get out. So, one, and then there's going to be another. And so I don't have money to go and buy parabolic mics right now. And we don't have money to go and buy super duper recorders. But yeah, that's, we're hoping that we will eventually have that. We don't have the money for that right now. So, War Criminal says, yeah, get your hind in up there, Josh. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I don't know. I might go tomorrow and see what I can see what I hear. If you guys would tune in, if you guys want to tune in for that. But like I said, it wouldn't be any different than last week because I don't have a high-end recorder but my flashlight will be charged. Rest assured, that will be charged. But I don't have anything else, that I can use for that. So it would just be me hearing things again, probably, and maybe I can walk around and maybe I can use the flashlight because I couldn't really use it because it was almost dead. So when those things start to go dead, the charge goes dead on them, they're not real strong.
They're basically useless.
Yeah, they're basically useless. Somebody said Colin Hilbert Aller to investigate at Wolf the Wall. Well, they could tromp around in those woods and just sit out there and see what they hear.
Could end badly, though. That might end up in an altercation with a homeless person. And
they get stabbed by a spear.
Well, I mean, they stay strapped, so they probably wouldn't be the ones getting stabbed or hurt.
I mean, you don't know that because, we could be strapped, they could be strapped, doesn't matter. We almost got impaled, not me, but one of the guards almost got impaled by a spear there. So, if they can see you and you can't see them, they can throw a spear at you. And if they impale you with it, well, tough titty.
Well,
so, I mean, they can turn and start shooting, but, there's no guarantee that they're going to hit whatever the hell it is. Sugi says Jesse can't sit still. Yeah, you would have to be sitting still to kind of get a beat on what's going on over there. Somebody says it's common lore. I can't say Hannon. It's common lore. They eat homeless, so they'd hear the urban legends. It's even worse than that. If you listen to that particular show and the one after that I did on the follow-up, the stories we get are that the homeless eat each other. Am I joking?
No.
I am not joking about that.
I mean, they could be doing anything in those woods, and nobody would be.
Yeah, nobody would
none the
know.
wiser.
So what I want to tell you right now, since we're on this subject, and this is a story I've been saving for a good Sunday, right? Talking about this particular situation, but first, let me go and grab something to drink and take a real quick break. You guys take over for just a minute.
Okay.
Give me 2 minutes. Won't take 2 minutes.
He's gonna take way longer than 2 minutes. Watch.
Watch you time me.
Go ahead and time. You know what's that?
Start now.
Someone start a stopwatch.
Start now.
Hang on.
Time him.
I'm gonna start a stopwatch right now. Watch. All right, here we go. He's gonna take longer. He always takes forever in the restroom. All right, what do we got in chat here? Samuel Lemon says they eat each other. Yeah, that's what's been said about like there's like a certain like a sect of homeless people who like they're cannibals. And now I don't know that they'll like unalive people to eat them, but I don't know. I mean, it's just, and I mean, like they could be out there cooking like cats and dogs and raccoons and possums for all we know, because anywhere there's a wood line in Austin, any kind of, even like the slightest wood line, 58 seconds.
Told you I wasn't going to take that long.
Anywhere there's a wood line, there's a homeless camp, and they always have these fires going in these homeless camps. And
they always start everything on fire.
the fire department does nothing. The police department does nothing. They do whatever they want. They take over like all the pretty green areas of the city. They just infest them, and they do whatever they want in them. And they're completely unchecked. No one does anything. So yeah, I mean, I believe it. I believe that they could be over there eating human flesh, and just grilling it over a grill that they stole from Academy.
We don't even. This isn't even like secondhand. We've had homeless people tell all three of us, including my wife, that they've witnessed people being eaten. I am not joking. This is not a funny, jokey thing. I mean, you don't know. You don't know. I mean, they'll say all kinds of things, like the girl over there, the lady. She's not a girl, but that lady over there at Congress talking about she's going to kill me. She may have to kill me. I'm like, so as long as I abide by her rules, and I'm like, lady, we're a long ways from me doing what you want to do. This is not how it works. You kill me. Yeah. If I just had a nickel for every time somebody said that, we'd be sitting on a pile of money all the way to the moon. Yeah, they've destroyed the green belt too. It's a shame. It's a real sad shame. So what ends up happening here, we got a story. I got a couple of them to tell you, right? I know you guys want to hear a story time. But I'm not doing it until I get $100 in donations, bitches. So until that happens, I'm sitting here. Get started.
Well, we should make them earn it in some form.
Yeah, let's get started. Do it. Buy up the memberships. Go on, go. I need a new throne. I need a golden chair up here.
Why don't we get to at least 280 likes on the video?
Let's do the like thing. If you could do the like thing, we'll do it.
All right, we're at 275 now. There's 548 people in here, and 275 likes.
Yes, mystical. Yes, it's so disgusting. Beloved Austin, beautiful, beautiful place. The pearl of Texas, right? The beauty, a beautiful place. And what they do? Defile it, destroy it, turn it into a cesspool, you know. And I'm not going to get political here, but there's one side in particular that just gives them everything.
Yeah.
You know, let's just be honest. I don't agree with everything on the other side, but I can tell you this. You know, the guy that's up there right now, he's all about it. Trying to tell us how to do the border and everything else. Insane clown posse. Are we getting the likes?
We have Oh, 318.
Oh, you guys went over.
You went over. We told you 300.
You guys got to follow our commands.
Now we have 328 likes. There was that flash again.
You saw it again, right?
Yeah.
I saw it in the corner of my eye. I mean, what do you want me to do about it?
I don't know.
Fix it.
Maybe go yell at it, threaten it.
Let's take care of this right now. You better stop.
Is that your Harry Potter one?
I don't know which way would you use this? No, this would be. You could probably use it. You could stab with this end and beat with this end. You know?
Break a finger.
I was watching One Piece with Stefan because, it was his birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So we watched One Piece, and I was like really thinking it wasn't going to be good, but it was actually pretty entertaining. There was this guy that won a sword fight with one guy who had 3 swords, and the other dude had a pocket knife.
Yeah.
He was just holding it and beating him. And I was like, wow, if only life was that easy.
Yeah.
Just pull out your pocket knife. Go ahead, bring 3 swords. See what happens. I love how they just give these big old huge monologue before they fight. And there were actually sometimes people downtown that would give your ghetto credentials to you before you beat their ass. They'd talk about how their heart didn't pump Kool-Aid and they were cutthroat this and that and from the 5th Ward, and they were just going like, wow, this guy's Godzilla and Joe Frazier all in one. I better be careful. You can do this to my ass and that to my ass. I'm going to need preparation H. And then you just smack them and it's over. All this big buildup. That's kind of how anime is. It's just a lot of talking and then a little bit of fighting.
Yeah. I don't like the guy with the cat claws. I thought that was kind of a boring story.
Then he was shuffling around.
Yeah. The stupid looking shoes.
The shoes on all those people were so goofy.
Yeah.
How many likes do we have?
We got 344.
344. We should have at least 350. We have 550 people in here and only 344 likes.
Yeah. Y'all are slacking.
What is going on here, man?
Like, the good thing about like is that you hitting like is that you don't even have to be subscribed to hit the like button.
Yeah.
So even if you're not subscribed, just hit the like button. Like is important. It helps us with the algorithm. So if you don't want to subscribe, if you're not on the,
how are we going to have
not a member,
13,000 views on a show?
Not on Patreon. If you're not going to donate, likes. but you still want to support it, just hit the like button. That's all you got to do.
I mean, literally, I looked on the other day. We had one show, 775 likes, and there were 13,000 views on. Like, what's going on? You can't hit the like button?
People forget about. I mean, it's not something people think about. You have to like kind of remind them that it's there.
Anytime I watch a video, no matter who it is, I mean, it could be about anything. If it's keeps my attention, I give them a like.
I don't. I hit dislike. Their video is not PRT.
How many do we got now?
365.
That's good. All right, we
379.
379. They're hitting the like button. There you go.
There we go.
Getting them likes up. So here's a story I'm going to tell you, and this comes from the homeless people once again. Now, there was a guy that was working out at Planet Fitness when we joined Planet Fitness, and I hate to say that we joined it, but it was during the pandemic, and nobody was open 24/7, but they were. So I said, you know what? We have two gyms that we could choose from. And at that time, I was trying to avoid paying $55 a month, and so I joined the purple and gold, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't the one we went to. They have those water beds. They're nice, whatever size.
That's the one thing they got going for them is in water beds.
So there was a guy working there at one point at the beginning of the pandemic when we were going there, and he was only there for like a week or so, and then he was gone. But he did me a solid, and we got to know each other, and I gave him the information to the show, and he actually, I think he still watches it periodically because he messaged me like maybe a month ago, and he follows the show, and that's how we met Stefan too, Stefan Gilson, who works with us, and so he told me, he says, he goes, I know a homeless guy, his name is Marcos, and he's been homeless for about 3 or 4 years. He's like, and he's got a really wild story to tell you. So I didn't think I was ever going to hear from this guy. It was months go by. So about 2 weeks ago, I get a message from this particular guy. And he says, hey, do you want to talk to my friend? Well, after the show I did on Monday, the very next day being Tuesday, and I was doing the follow-up, whatever, this guy hits me up and he goes, dude, I've just started it was the Tuesday afternoon, this Tuesday. He said, I just started watching your episode and you were talking about the homeless people and all the weird stuff, whatever. And he goes, and I told you about the homeless guy that had a really crazy story. He goes, I'm going to find him. I'll reach out to him. So Thursday comes along. I get home from doing the show with Blondes and Booze, and I'm sitting there looking through my phone, and bam, it's right there. And this guy says, hey, you know, our friend told me to reach out to you. And I said, oh, that's great. That's cool, you know. And so I don't know, should we say the guy's name? Well, it doesn't matter, I guess. It doesn't matter. The guy that gave me the guy in touch.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think it matters, but I mean, his name's Robin, but whatever. So anyway, he gets me in touch with this guy. And he tells me, he says, you want to hear my story? I said, absolutely. And he says, he goes, don't laugh. And then he kind of puts a little laugh emoji, and I laughed back. Then he didn't talk to me for like 2 hours, and I thought, serious? Like, you know, like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just like, you know.
That was a test and you failed.
Yeah, he tested me, right? Then like an hour goes by, and he says, no, dude, I'm now at the Panda Express. He's like, I'm out in front of the Panda Express. He's like, and I'm using their whatever. And it was late at night, you know, and I know where he's at, where he's talking from, whatever. He says, no, I'm over here, and I can get signal, you know. I had to find a place I could go. And, I mean, the guy's still homeless. He's still homeless. He rides his bike everywhere. And so we started talking, and he says, do you know the overpass? And I know exactly where it's at. He's like, there's a bar right there. He says the name of it. I don't know. We should say the name of it. It's close to the hospital. Close to where we used to live.
Okay.
Where the railroad tracks.
Oh, okay, yeah,
You know
I know
what
that
I'm talking
bar.
about, right?
Yeah.
That creepy little spot right there.
Yeah.
Because remember one day we were driving through there, all three of us, and we were going to Big Tex.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Okay.
and we were talking about it, and I think Tony made a joke like, what if the crawler, you said something like a goblin or something was chasing you right there. This looks like a place. And so when he started telling me, describing this spot, I said, holy shoot, man, I said, me and my nephews have joked about that place, you know. And he's like, well, this isn't a joke. He's like, what I'm going to tell you. He goes, we were all hanging out in those woods right there by the hospital. He's like, and lo and behold, he's like, you know, one of our friends comes running from underneath that overpass and said that something had come from the other side of the hike-a-bike trail, which, you know, that hike-a-bike trail keeps going over by Duval.
Yeah.
You can look it up on a map, folks. It's not like I'm hiding this place. And then there's a homeless camp back there. And he said that my friend came running through there and was like, oh, you know, something chased me, blah, blah, blah. But this isn't the first time he said that. So we just kind of thought,
Boy who
nobody
cried
else,
wolf.
yeah, boy who cried wolf. Nobody else has been chased. It's just you, right? But then he goes, a couple days go by, and one of our friends' girlfriends is running through there. And these people are homeless, but what they do is they actually have a membership. That's how Robin actually got to meet this guy. Because they go to the Planet Fitness or to the other gym, and what they do is they take showers or whatever, and they basically go back out to their camp, and they're able to live some semblance of a normal life that way. So, and I'm not judging these people one way or the other. This guy seemed like he was mentally fit, whatever. He has a job. He literally works at a grocery store. So what happened was, he says, dude, I'm sitting there. He's like, and she comes running up, and she's breathing hard, and she says this giant wolf-looking thing got up on its hind legs and chased me, and there was another girl, and she went the other direction, and they didn't know where she went. So they decided that they needed to go and find her. And so at that point, they were like, well, maybe this other guy, I don't remember the guy's name, Jay or something like that. It's like, maybe he wasn't lying. Maybe there was something to this, you know. And so what ended up happening, they all split up into two groups, and they did kind of like this encirclement thing. He said there was 5 in the other group and 6 in my group. He's like, unfortunately, I ended up with most of the women. And he's like, you know, and he goes, no offense to women, but, you know, I'm not, if something happens.
That's not the group you want to be
That's not the group you want to be in, because they're not as strong as the dudes.
They're all going to be looking at him.
Even though the Hollywood movies, the weirdos over there will try to tell you that we're all the same. We're not. Okay. So what ends up happening is they split up. And he said, we go around to the other side of those railroad tracks. He's like, and I know the area where he's at. He goes, and then we get to that mouth of the hiking bike, and there's a creek that runs down there. He goes, and when we were walking over that little bridge, he goes, we hear psh, 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 like some footfall in the water. Of course, you know, these are homeless people, but they're very resourceful. They all have flashlights and probably do a better job of keeping them charged than me. I'm just going to be real honest, you know. I suck. But anyway, they shine the light down there, and they're looking down. He goes, and I look down, and what I see looks like this creature that looks like, this is what he described. He says, it looked like a cross between a bear, a hyena, and a wolf. He's like, and this thing was on its all fours. He goes, and it stood up and it looked at us. And he goes, and you could where the arms would really look bear-like, you know. And he said, but it kind of lowered at its side. He goes, it had its mouth open. You could see these big, oversized teeth. And he said the thing looked damn prehistoric. He said, and then it began to judge where it was at, and they thought, oh, well, we're safe. We're up on this little ridge. No, it jumps up and tries to like grab a hold of where the platform little thingy where they're walking on. It tries to jump up onto that. And then they're like, whoa, whoa. And so they all take off running, heading back toward the camp. And this guy, whatever it was, he called it a guy. Okay? Like a dude. Like it was a dude. You know, it's not like an animal. He did not describe this thing as an animal. He described it as a man-like creature, you know, with human-like abilities, like, you know, grab and run. And he said it just started running. Now I asked him, I said, let me ask you a question. I was like, Marcos, did it have human-like legs? And he said, no. He said, no. From what I remember, it was like these backward bent. I said, okay, yeah, I got it. And so he says they all managed to get back to the encampment, whatever, and they're there, and they're all just breathing hard, and they're like, dude, what the hell was that thing? What in the hell was that? One of them was armed in the other group, and they hear gunshots, bang, bang, bang. And then they start running. They could hear people yelling, screaming, and some of the people in their camp began running and going in different directions, and there was chaos. And then the people from the other group started filtering in, coming in piece by piece. Or the way he described it was, one at a time, whatever. And so at that point, he said, dude, it was like absolute chaos. And he said, he goes, have you ever heard of anything like this? I said, yes, I have. Many, many, many times. Not necessarily in the exact descriptions, but yeah. What he saw, though, he said the thing had what looked like part of its face had blood on it, like it had eaten something. And unfortunately, they didn't find their friend the next day. They went looking, didn't find anything. They did find some ripped clothing and some messed up stuff, and they determined that it wasn't hers. And so they said, well, we need to inform the police. Well, they had just started filling the police report, calling the police and saying, hey, there's one of our friends went missing, which happens all the time, apparently, to them. And the police, they don't really do anything for them. They don't do anything against them. They don't do anything. They just don't do nothing. And he said, well, we knew that there was nothing we could do. He's like, and then the very next day, she shows up in another spot where we like to hang out at by the park. And so a lot of them have cell phones. He's got one. And they called and they said, we found her. She's okay. But she had a horrific story to tell. This is what she said happened to her. When they were walking underneath that bridge, she got separated from her friends, right? She went missing, I guess, to them. She crawled up into this culvert that was big enough to where she could fit, but this creature couldn't. And this thing sat there trying to push its way through to get to her, and it was within inches of biting her, and it was snapping and biting at her. And it went on. She said this thing would leave and then come back and then do it. And then she said, and then finally when daybreak came, she said she thought, well, for sure, this thing's going to go away because it's daytime. She said, nope, it was still there. And she's thinking, oh my goodness, why is there no one walking by that's seeing this freaking thing doing this crap? And eventually, it just like a couple of hours go by. She could hear people, and it was mid-morning. So she crawls out, she looks, and she doesn't see anything. So she gets out of there. And then she starts to head back toward the camp, and then she sees it this is what's even crazier. And now I believe this because I've had people tell me that they've seen things like this, and nobody's even paying attention to it. You know why? Because you're too damn busy with work and life, and the kids are screaming, and you got to get dinner. You don't have time to jack around with this crap. You just don't. So, she goes and she says, I go back up the hill and I see this thing laying there on its side sleeping. And then there's like a pallet of like what looks like bricks or something. Do you remember how they had like some stuff there for a while or whatever? Yeah. And she said that it's laying on the other side of these bricks. And she's like, and there's cars going by. There's people walking by. But she's so horrified and so terrified. She's like, no way in hell. She's like, her exact words were, unless angels came down and escorted me, was I going to walk by that thing. She's like, it was right there. So she walks the other way and goes to the park and goes into some brush and sits down and then the next thing you know, she falls asleep and it's nighttime. And she's like, and then I wake up and I'm like, oh no, it's dark and I'm in this park and there's nobody around. The park she's talking about, now you know how when we would go to the Postal Annex and you take that right off at Duval and you go down that road, there's like a school and there's a school, yeah, right there. Yeah. A bunch of other stuff, there's a park right there. So she was back up in there asleep where that trail comes to like a fork or whatever. She was asleep right there. And so she's asleep. And then she says, she's like, I hear this grunting noise. And she's like, and I'm thinking, oh no. And she wakes up and she's like, it's 9:00 at night. She's like, I'd been asleep for a big chunk of the day. I'd been up all night. I was exhausted. I just fell out. And she's homeless. I don't know for sure, but I'm going to assume that she's probably malnourished. Probably doesn't eat as regularly and as good as we do. So she's stuck there, right? God is good. She gets up, she looks, and the grunting, snorting nose was a woman walking her dog. So she crawls out, and the woman's kind of startled, and, well, you live in Austin, you're like, oh, well, it's just a homeless person. Yeah. Don't kill me, whatever. And she's like, she gets up, and she looks around, so she runs across the road, and the place where she runs to, we used to do security for that place years ago. So she walks in front of that apartment complex. It's 9:00, so there's traffic coming and going. And she walks all the way to the end, and then she goes around that spot under the bridge. She goes over the top of the overpass, and she goes all the way around. But she ends up in a residential neighborhood. And then she runs into a friend of hers at that convenience store, which is where we used to live, right across the street, the store. Yeah. She's right there, and the homeless people all congregated right there. Mm-hmm. So she hung out with them for a few hours, trying to convince a couple of them to walk her to her encampment. And eventually they just took her back to their spot, and they all went to sleep there for the night. And she's like, I didn't sleep at all that night. And then the next day, I guess, is when she reconnected with her people. They went to the park, and the next day. So imagine that's what's going on with her, and the whole time they're looking. And Marcos claims that he saw this creature. Like he told me point blank, he's like, I seen this thing, and it took a while to get that story and get it to talk to this guy. But it was well worth it because, he was very adamant that this thing is real and that this girl that this really happened to her. Now, my uncle was homeless for a while. He's not anymore. And it was by his choice because he didn't want to live with my aunt because they would fight, whatever. And my aunt's his sister and her husband, so he didn't want to live with them. And they had their problems, whatever, so he chose to go be homeless. Well, he used to live in that area right there by there. And there were people that he would talk about that were just like, they would see weird stuff, dude, like there's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I'm going to get into all of it, but yeah, the homeless people stories for days about the weird, wild stuff that they would see. And when you think about these, imagine being homeless. And you're not only subject to being prey by your own fellow humans, but these, whatever they are, these inhumanoids. So there's that story. Anybody's thoughts, hit me up right now. Jules says I'm being harassed by a dog man at my house. Okay, Jules, you want to call in and tell us about it? You can hit me up through Facebook Messenger if you're on Messenger. I'll put you on the show right now. You can talk about it. 39 Shaman says homeless people aren't exactly the best character witnesses. Well, talking to this guy and knowing the guy from the gym that used to work over there, the guy doesn't do drugs, he doesn't drink, and some of these people just choose to be homeless. He doesn't have a vehicle. And if you knew the rent that people pay in Austin, some of these people actually do it because they don't want to have to pay. And when I spoke to this guy, he didn't sound like he was a drunk. He didn't sound like a drug addict. And all I can do is take his word for it. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again on the show. If one person tells you something, you can question it and think, well, who knows? But 2 people tell you, 3 people tell you, 4 people tell you, 5 people tell you. Yeah.
At that point, you're, just denying yourself. And even a broken clock is right twice a day. So I think it is true. Like, I hate that kind of risky character witness kind of stuff, because even though it is true that they are, an unreliable narrator, at the end of the day, it's still a story. And, you can't, every story has that unreliable narrator tag because it's not something that we experience firsthand. So
anyone can lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it
so,
doesn't matter whether you're homeless or not.
Just because this story comes from him doesn't make it any less valid.
Yeah. Tripping up on you says, I've been trying to get to Wolf to tell him my story. There's a lot of people. Send it to me. Hit me up. And tell me, hey, this is tripping up on you on there. Let me know, because if you guys are in the chat, obviously you're my peeps, I have today, I told Anthony today, we got slammed with stories. I was showing Anthony today, we were in the kitchen. And a lot of times we're all just like ships passing in the night, but we were standing there in the kitchen talking. And I told Anthony, I said, take a look at it. There was a bunch of them that piled up in there today. Wasn't a whole lot. There was like 9, I think, over the last 2 days. And then there was nothing on, I think it was Wednesday. It was like nothing. That was the first time. That was like first time in months. There was nothing came in, nothing. And then Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday it was like 1 or 2. And then everybody just decided to dump them all on me Sunday, I guess. But yeah. And I don't think Seanman was being. He's always in the chat, and he's usually pretty respectful. I don't think he's trying to be snarky or mean. I think he's just being honest. Yeah. In his opinion, it's not because homeless people sometimes they do have.
I mean, it is a fact.
Substance abuse problems.
You do have to understand that, but again, just because it is the case doesn't mean you have to entirely write it off. Mm. But it's just like any other story where we tell you, this is their story. It's not what we believe. It's just how we received it.
Yeah. I know they're going to do something a little differently right now, but instead of waiting toward the end, because a lot of people will just bail in the end when they think the show is over and they're like, hey, let's go. So let's do a giveaway while we have a chance.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one way to get my books autographed. That's the conference. But there's another way, and that is if you're a $40 or $50 tier on the Patreon, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pick 2 people, and I'm going to give away the Bigfoot book, because I think that's what we have more of right now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think so.
So I'm going to give away the Bigfoot book. I know it's outsold. The Dogman has outsold the Bigfoot about 400 books. I personally don't know which one I like better. I think that I did a better job on the Bigfoot was like, because I'd done one already, so I think it was easier to do.
I mean, I think we kind of knew that your Dogman book would sell really well because it is what you're kind of known for.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's your story written. It's in there too. So
Wow. Here's one from. This was that person from Arizona right here.
oh, was that are those my notes?
Yeah, this is your handwriting.
Yeah.
Natasha. Brittany, Natasha, or
Oh no, yeah, those were the Dogman names.
yeah, those are the Dogman. I don't think we never did.
I never.
Yeah, you interviewed her. You and Armando were taking care
Yeah,
of the
and
case.
then I think at that time.
Yeah, after
she
he died, we just kind of wow, and then we never did.
I can't believe you found those old notes.
We never did get back in touch with her. We got so many investigations we've done. So anyway, let's. I said I was going to give away the book, and people dropped off. Look, they're like, "Oh, let's get out of here! Huh? Anything but that.
Reading.
These books are horrible."
I thought I left at the end of the show because it was over. No, I left because there was a giveaway.
Yeah, those giveaways. We bailed. Screw that.
Free stuff.
Not going to give me a book.
Not going to give my address.
Yeah. Anybody out there who has not won?
Yeah,
Debbie Cothra says, "I would love one of your books, Josh. I've never won anything."
Basically, everyone under the age of 30 left.
Yeah, exactly. Author. Oh, there's author and illustrator BJ LaPierre says, "I have never won anything." I told him that if he came back, we would hook him up. Would you like one of my books, author? I'll let Tony and Anthony pick.
Okay, let's see. Let's see who hasn't won. I'm gonna try and pick someone who I've seen before, who hasn't won.
I'm gonna choose that handsome fellow right there, Tuani Luang.
Samuel Lemon says, "I won when I came to the conference." Yeah, we definitely did. Author and illustrator, she says, Bonnie Jean, I'm a woman. Well, there you go. It's even better. Not that I don't, appreciate guys, but
So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this guy by the name of Brother Heck, or brother HEC. Like maybe that's short for Hector or something. I don't know. You don't have to say, but
has he ever won?
No. Okay. He, according to him, he hasn't won. And
so
I don't remember him.
What you got to do is message me through Josh Turner at PRTpodcast.com, and we'll send you out a book. Who else?
My choice is going to be Mara Black.
Mara Black. Once again, message me, Mara, and we'll send you out a book. And I will also send, my pick will be, of course, because this is from last week. I told her if she came back, author and illustrator BJ LaPierre, message me with your information, and I'll send you a book. So we're going to send out 3 books. And we normally don't do that with the books. And the books, they sell really well. They have been selling really well. I was told by my author friends, well, it eventually slowed down, and it did, but not as ferociously as they thought. It's just going to drop off, and it didn't do that. Author and illustrator BJ LaPierre, where do you message you at? Josh Turner at PRTpodcast.com. You see it's floating up above my head?
Yeah, it's the email address is floating at the top of the screen, or that's scrolling at the top of the screen.
Marmar says, is the PRT store down? Yes, apparently. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I got to log in and see what the deal is with that. I got to fix it and get it back up running.
We need to get it back up because there's several people trying to get merchandise. That's not cool. So we did the whatever, like 557 people now. They were just dropped off as soon as we started doing the giveaway. The show's not over, folks. We still got, I guess we could just end it. We got to do a recording anyway since everybody wants to leave.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, you don't like us, so. They're like, the show was good until they started giving stuff away. Yeah. I don't like having opportunities like that. You never know what could happen when somebody tries to give you something.
Or a bunch of damn socialists.
When I was a kid, somebody tried to give me a box and it was full of tarantulas.
Trying to get me to read?
You better charge me for that book. I ain't a man to take no charity. Damn socialists.
Down to 550 people. Look at this. Jeez, just bottomed out. I guess that's it. We were going to tell another story, but I guess everybody's just, just done. You're just done. That's it. We're done. Now, here's another one I want to tell you, but let's see if we can get some more likes. What are we at on likes?
So we're at 404 likes, and there's 553 people watching.
So realistically, how many likes should we try to get? Like another 50?
I mean, at the very least, if we can get it up to like, I don't know,
Let's get it to 500.
500. Let's get it to 553, and then we're ready to go.
If we can get it to the magic funny number of 420, then that'd be great.
Why is that the magic funny
We need
number?
to do a telethon fundraiser. Folks, we need new infrared headlamps. We need
to get like really jet black hair dye for you, like Jerry Lewis.
My dog was kidnapped. Bring Fifi home. We need the money there. Come on, dude.
It's a conspiracy to kidnap my Fifi.
How would you like it if your Fifi was kidnapped? Well, it depends on what kind of dog it was. It's a little shit, and I'm glad it's gone. Luckily, we don't have those kind of dogs. My friend had a dog, though, named Scott, and I thought it was a cool dog until I babysat it, and then he dumped it on me and went to the Navy. And I had him for a while, and thank God somebody finally took him. It wasn't so much that he was a little asshole. What the problem was that he was like, have y'all had these? These are the Quest peanut butter cups. They have like 11 grams of protein. So I was like sitting there eating these the other day, and I was thinking, wow, I'm doing good. I'm eating healthy protein. And this lady comes on the YouTube, and she's like, are you eating too much protein? And I'm like, shut up, witch. Okay, I'm going to eat this. Shut up.
Jeez, now Google's watching us when we eat.
Yeah, you're gonna pop up in my van and tell me I shouldn't be eating protein. Now I can't even eat protein. I couldn't eat fat back in the 80s and 90s, and then they're like, no, eat fat, don't eat carbs. And now they're like, are you eating too much protein? Are you still breathing? You should just die.
I remember seeing like this ad in a magazine from the 70s or 60s. And it was saying that if you eat sugar, if you're trying to lose weight, then eat more sugar because it curbs your appetite and makes you eat less. And see, like, these are the same people, like the people who believe that stuff. These are the same people today who are telling you that the science is settled on this and that and that and this. Like, this is stupid.
It changes every
there's no such thing.
every half a decade. You're like,
There's no such thing as settled science.
train.
Yeah, the food pyramid is a scam.
Well, it used to be just eat a bunch of bread and grains. That was like the base.
Yeah, like I think it's like the FDA says that you're supposed to eat like 65% of your diet is supposed to be carbs, or 65% of your calories are supposed to be carbs according to them. How? Like what? You got to eat like pasta bread bowls every day or something.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dang, we're at 440 likes, so they went above and beyond with the likes.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe that. Lady gets on there and she's like, are you eating too much protein? Like, God damn, man, what are you supposed to eat? Supposed to be breatharians?
Bugs, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that would be too much protein too. I heard they're all protein. I don't know.
Yeah, Jim Bob said I saw an article that eggs give you cancer.
No, I did too.
Yeah.
No, what? No, they're saying that like don't eat chicken thigh meat because it causes cancer, and I'm like,
But we're supposed to eat like what is that impossible meat, which is just processed plant slime and bugs.
ridiculous. Can't freaking do anything. Cassidy's place. Never seen you before. Exactly, Gil. Don't breathe. It's bad for you. John Sablon says, I only eat breasts. That sounds weird. Baby Billy. Baby Billy. Why do you do it? Well, I'm selfless. Tony, grab me one of them drinks. I don't know. Just surprise me. Anything but the beer. I don't want that beer. Why is that beer in there? It's been there for like a year.
It's Loki's.
Yeah. Loki brought that?
Yeah, it's just been sitting there.
I told Loki to come get it because we ain't nobody gonna drink that. We could be like that dipshit up in Missouri and take a shot after each show.
We need to bring more variety. You only got 2 choices.
What is this? Prime?
Prime and 1877.
I'll take the 1877. Those have too. It's too sweet. It's not sugar.
It's weird.
It's like an overpowered. Is it like monk fruit or something?
No, it's stevia.
Oh.
Like stevia is really like hyper.
It's
sweet.
overly sweet. It's just. So, folks, let me get to the next show, but I got to take a drink of something here real quick. Be drinking too much protein, eating too much protein. And then the other day they said we work out too much. They're like, "Are you overtraining?" I know that's a thing. I used to do that, like, overtrain. I'm like, I don't think so. And you always catch yourself like buying into it at first. I'm sitting there in my study and I'm like, it was after the Wim Hof, all this health stuff comes on. If you haven't done the Wim Hof, it's basically like you breathe in, breathe out. And you alkalize your body, your bloodstream, and you do it 30 times like that. And then you hold your breath for a minute, and you do it again, then you hold your breath for a minute and a half. Do it again, you hold your breath for a minute and a half. And eventually you'll get where you can hold it 2 minutes, whatever. 2 things it does. One, it alkalizes your bloodstream so that you can hold your breath longer, which is good for you. Because that boosts growth hormone like crazy. And then, so I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I take the cold showers. I go like 4 to 6 minutes in the cold. I mean, really cold, especially in the wintertime. It's really cold. You're freezing your butt off. But you get used to it, after like 2 minutes, you're fine, whatever.
And it's just the breath of fresh air afterwards makes it worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, like once you get out of the shower after a cold shower, it just feels great.
No, that actually sucks, but it's the 10 minutes afterwards that your head just feels clear.
That's talking. Why you got the camera on me?
No, I don't know. He was gonna talk that long. I thought he was just gonna make a quick comment because
he's just very. He's got one job, and he's not very good at it.
If is just gonna make a quick comment, then I won't switch the cameras because it's too jarring to have the cameras go back.
That's why it was nice having that thing in between us so that we could do it ourselves. But someone had to break it.
I gotta fix it. I don't know.
He said.
What?
He said, but you had to break it.
I didn't break it. No, it's right here. It's just
be really honest. It did happen.
It got deprogrammed.
I mean, listen. All I'm gonna say is when I was doing,
you wouldn't use it anyway.
When I went, it didn't break.
And I tell you, hey, Tony,
stop talking so much. You overused it, and it broke.
And I'll be watching on my phone. He'd be talking. The button is right here from the switch of camera, and the camera's on you every time. Every time I leave him to his own devices. It never works.
And it broke. It didn't break on my watch. That's all I know.
You didn't even use it.
That's why it didn't break.
Okay, well,
you won't stop talking and flipping the camera over.
Okay, they get worn.
I'm surprised that keyboard still works.
This is the part where you put the little emoji where
I'm all out of my
guy's just drinking. What do you call it? Huh? Eating the popcorn. I'm just eating the popcorn when y'all fight. It's funny when y'all were younger. Y'all could like put boxing gloves on and beat each other up, but y'all were so weak you never hurt each other. That's the problem. Yeah. And then one day y'all were just punching the wall opposite of each other. So I was like, what is this? Enough of that. That's not working.
And we were fighting each other at that point, too. I think
at least, like when you were training with Zane and he would only tap out because he was tired.
Yeah,
he'd be beating you up and then he's tired, so he taps out.
Oh, fat ass. No, I mean,
I couldn't believe that.
He would just lay on you. And that was the most annoying part.
Strong as he is,
Like, I mean, like, I would roll with him and like rolling with Zane.
It's not fun.
But like you're not gonna win.
Yeah,
because he's so much bigger and stronger than you. Like your goal is just to survive, right? Right. Like when you're doing jiu-jitsu,
or out technique him at least.
Yeah,
I mean,
but when I was rolling with him, he tapped when he had me the whole time he had me, but he got so gassed and so tired that he had me in some kind of compromised position and was holding, and eventually just got tired, and he had the advantage, and he was like.
That's what Big Rob did with Scorpion.
Dude, what?
He had Scorpion and he tapped out.
I mean, I know when I have Zane on the ropes because all of a sudden I'll feel like a sudden increase on my chest of like around 300 to 400 pounds.
The problem is, dude, and I raised this kid, he's strong as an ox. He kicks like a mule. He punches like a freaking, if he punches you, you're going to feel it. I've sparred him many times, and he could punch really hard.
No, yeah, he's a
beast.
He's a specimen.
And he actually knows how to punch.
Take care of himself the way he should. He could be a lot. There's a lot of things he could do, but he just whatever. So here's what I'm going to tell you. There's a story that I got not too long ago from an area we like to drive through. We call it Nellie's Drive. Affectionately, I call it that. And when they were telling me this story, we were driving through there, and I was telling Nellie about it. And I said, I got a story. Little did I know it was actually right there at that place. So if you're listening, honey, I'm sorry, but there was actually a very, very creepy sighting from that spot right there. And what it was, and I'll tell you about it. It was on Spicewood Springs Road. And I'll tell you about this. It was a very, very, very creepy spot. These people were driving through, and the rain had gone to where it was like going over the little low water crossings. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. There's only one Nellie Drive.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of spots right there. And these people were there, and they were driving over the low water crossing, and they see something. There's two different things I'm going to tell you. This one here is definitely Dogman. There's no doubt in my mind it had to be. And they see something down in the water, and it looked like it was like trying to grab something, which may or may not have been a fish. And they see it, and they notice that the face on this thing it's kind of like this, how this thing kind of looks, but it was like the face was black, and it didn't have it was like the fur was all around it, kind of almost like a mane. It had ears that stuck straight up, and they were really tall. That wouldn't look anything like this guy here. But the face, yeah. And so these people said that there was a guy and a girl, and they were sitting there, and they were taking their time going on. This was daylight. This was in the evening, but it wasn't dark, and it was summertime, and it had rained really heavy. And it was several years ago. They were going over it, and they see it. They see it right there, like in the water. And it was using what looked like hands. And at first, the guy was like, look at that bear. Now, they're from Oregon. They're from Oregon. And after the conversation, I told them, I said, do you still live here in Austin? They said, yes. I said, can you move back, please? No offense. Just go. I didn't say it. I'm joking. Guy's name's Walt. I'm joking, Walt. I was just being snarky, okay? I didn't really want you to go. But anyway, if you do, though, take a Californian under each arm. And so what I was saying, though, is that Walt was sitting there looking into the water, and he told his wife, he said, that's not a bear. What is that? So she looks over, and she's like, oh my gosh. She goes, that's a werewolf. And he's like, that's not a werewolf. They don't exist. There's no such thing, right? Or is there? As he's staring at this thing, it stops, and it notices that they're just kind of slowly moving over the low water crossing, and there was no reason for them to be going that slow. So it started to lose interest in what it was doing, and it kind of stood up slowly, fixed its gaze on them, and then just started to burst out of that water, running at them at full speed. And he said he was convinced that the only thing that 2-3 feet of water was keeping it from moving really, really fast. It was physical in the way that it could maneuver through the water, and it was making the water move, and it was doing whatever it was doing. And he says, dude, I asked him that too, of course. I said, do you think it was flesh and blood? Or he goes, I don't give a damn what it was. It was real. It was unreal. He goes, it looked real to me, and it damn near caught up to us. And he goes, and I told my wife, I said, we are about to be prey. And so what's even more unnerving was that, which oftentimes happens in these encounters, there's nobody else around.
That's
in the evening time, they're usually this car or two's coming by. There's nobody. And so they take off driving. He goes, and we go really fast, and then we hit the next low water crossing, which is like every 300 yards or something, And so he's like, dude, 200-300 yards, and there's another low water crossing, and we're going as fast as we can. And then in some spots, I would say it's probably not even but 100 yards. And so I don't know exactly which spot they were at, but I kind of got a feel for which one I think it is. Now, what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to go to that spot, and I'm going to take a picture. I don't like taking pictures and whatever, and probably won't see anything. I've been through there 1,000 times. I didn't see anything. But I'm going to take a picture to show you where they were at. And so you can tell me, right? Right. So anyway, she's like, we're driving along. What he doesn't know is that a lot of these creeks are connected and they loop back around like this, So this thing, he said, unless it had superhuman speed or it was some sort of not completely physical creature, there's no way in my book that this thing could have come to the next low water crossing. And I'll tell you why. Because it would have had to traverse like hundreds and hundreds of yards to go around this thing. And I don't think they would have had time to catch their vehicle because it comes out at the next low water crossing and it runs out and it hits the back end of their vehicle and their vehicle turns like this. And then fine German engineering, he's driving a Mercedes, and he takes off. And he gets to the next low water crossing, and the next one, and then he gets to the area by the horse farm, and he's home free. But I told him, I said, dude, you're not the first person to tell me they've seen things down there. Now, if you go down there to the bottom, underneath 360, you guys know where that's at, where there's a little waterfall right there. People actually will go and swim in that water. Those people we call not locals. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
It's gross. But anyway, during heavy rains, there's a lot of water there. There was somebody that was driving through there underneath that, and it's on the other side of Spicewood, and it's like it's under an overpass on 360, right? And then if you take a left on 360 and you're facing the north and you take a left, you'll go on to Spicewood Springs Road. Now, these people were down, and I talked a little bit about this on that live that we were talking about where I did last Monday. The story was, and I didn't have it all fleshed out at that time because I hadn't talked to everybody that was involved. And I didn't get to talk to everybody. I talked to 2 people. And it wasn't, one of them was just by email. The other one was not a real long conversation. But I did get a little more about this encounter. They were driving through there after a really heavy rain in 1 October. And what happened was they were talking and they weren't really paying attention. They look over to their left and the driver sees this thing and it comes right up to the vehicle and literally slaps the window and is like, he said he looks at this thing and the appearance of this thing was enough to give anybody like a fright and make you terrified. He's like, but when I look at this thing, he goes, I saw fear in its eyes. He said it looked terrified. It looked like something was chasing it, like something, and it was trying to get help and whatever it was on its hands, and it was drizzling, it was raining. He said there was blood on its hands and blood on it. You could see it bleeding. And I said, what did it look like? And he said it was like an amphibian-looking thing, like a fish-looking thing. And so I showed him the cover of Barton Numbly's Inhumanoids. I said, did it look anything like that? And he says, no, it was more fish-like. It was more fish-like. It looked like a fish on 2 legs. Right? Thank you, Kate Hunter, for that donation. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, awesome. Kate. Like always.
But, yeah, Kate's wonderful, always coming through. And so this thing looks like a fish-type being or something. And I talked about this on that live I was telling you. Bluish green in color. He's like, and it looked like it was like in fear, and it was like gasping for air. Like it wasn't supposed to be out of the water, right? But it was humanoid looking. And so I said, dude, what is that? I mean, like, what is that? Is that like a mer creature or something that belongs in the rivers? Because that's just like a big offshoot of the river. And he says, I look further back. You know how you get the camera? Probably like this. You see how the camera will focus in on that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, and there's somebody in the back seat, and they're like, oh my God, look at that back there, look at that. And they look, and they see these two, well, he saw two, but the person in the back seat, there was a third one. And these were, I thought they were like Bigfoot type creatures. But according to the person he was with, because he didn't get a real good look at it because they hauled ass out of there. And the thing just clipped out.
Oh.
Did you touch it or something?
Probably.
So my screen just went black. We're fine. So what ended up happening was they hauled us out of there, and then the people in the back were back looking, you know, and they see these creatures, and he said one of them in particular, the front one, had a snout, looked very wolf-like. And get this, the description matches exactly what this person told me they saw that day. Him and his wife were here from Oregon, and this is like 2 weeks after they had moved here from Oregon. And yeah, it was like, so he asked me, you know, has he ever heard anything like that? And I said, yeah, actually I have. But at that time, that story was first, although they were out of order. The people that saw the thing underneath the overpass where the little waterfall is on 360, their story happened like back in 2017 or 16 or 15, something like that. It was a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but you know. And then these people, what they saw was only in 2019. So what the couple from Oregon saw, they saw like a few years after what those people had seen. But I got the stories in the reverse. I got their story first, and then I got the story of the fish-looking dude, whatever. So there's a lot to unwrap in this story. And so I asked the guy, I said, can you tell me more? I mean, do you have anything else? He says, no, dude. He said, we were driving all over, and it was real pretty, and we started out in the daytime, and we were driving through all these really pretty areas of Austin. He goes, and my what would become my brother-in-law tells me, hey, let's go drive around, and I'll show you some really pretty stuff, you know. And so that's how they ended up there, and they went through Spicewood Springs, and then they went down into that which would be really a glorified gully, which turns into the river, whatever. And he says, you know, it was really pretty. It had been raining, so, you know, whatever, it was really nice. And I think he said it was October, and I can't even remember exactly. But he said, dude, you know, we had our windows up because it was starting to drizzle again. It was starting to rain again, and it had been raining. And this creature, whatever it was, came up, and I think it was being hunted. I mean, there's no other explanation. The creatures that were, you know, the faces were black. Well, at least one of them, anyway, that they saw was like a black with a muzzle, brown fur, you know, or brownish, you know, fur, whatever. And the muzzle of the face didn't have a. But here's another thing about it too. Unlike the people from Oregon, one of the people that saw this said that it almost looked like an oversized, angry baboon. And then he said, well, we kind of argued about what it looked like. He said, I just saw brown, furry things, and they were walking straight up and down, like upright, like men. He said, baboons walk like kind of hunched over. This thing wasn't doing that. These weren't doing that. He goes, and they were definitely stopped, and they were about 20 yards back. And they were observing. I think they were waiting to see what would happen with us and with this fishy-looking amphibian thing. And he asked me a question. He said, do you think that these things could have been hunting that creature? And I told him, I said, I was very, very, very kind of just, you know, poignant. You know, I said, look, I said, it's the circle of life. Okay? These things were hunting this thing. They were trying to tell it about its car's extended warranty. Mm-hmm. Things got carried away.
I mean, it happens.
They're eating it.
He went to get milk. The thing wouldn't come back, so now they're trying to get child support from it.
So, somewhere there was a woman fish going like, he's always like dilly-dallying around, pissing around, you know, and she's mad and whatever, but he never comes back. And then she's like, he was a great provider. No, I'm making a joke, but I don't know. I don't know what this thing was. I don't know what those things were. And there again, I don't know. Somebody says gugwe. I don't know. I never got anything about a tail, you know. on either one of those stories. If there was a tale, I didn't get anything about it. There was somebody that told me a story about that area once 2 years ago that they pulled a frog out of there that was the size of a cat.
Dang.
Like a house cat, yeah. So, baboon, maybe. Kevin Clark says baboon-like cryptid. Could that be a gugby? I don't know. I don't know. All we got is what they told us.
We've heard reports of huge baboons before. So like it being baboon-like is interesting because it could lead to a different section of creatures that we've, had encounters with, or not us, but, that we've received encounters from. But it could go either way, really. I think the only weird part about it being baboon-like is that it was upright, which, anytime... Not Gugway specific, but
another thing too, though, the shoulders were massive, like a man's shoulders. I don't know if that would be baboon.
I think baboons have pretty huge shoulders.
Not really. They got these huge heads, and the heads just kind of go down to the shoulders. They don't have they're not really known for broad shoulders.
I would think, walking on your hands all the time.
Mouths.
Yeah. So how many likes do we got? Let's see what we got.
Got 465 likes.
See, that's pretty good. We need to, folks. If you watch the show and you like the show, go back to the previous episodes that you've watched. Now, don't just do it just to be doing it, because I'm not going to tell you to do something that would be dishonest. If you watched the show and you liked it, just go back and give it a like. If you want to help us out, you can give us likes. You don't have to. If you can't, help out with donations or whatever, you don't have to do that. That's not a prerequisite of watching the show. And we keep this free. We don't do it. We don't put it behind a paywall. We want to keep it free as long as we possibly can. We've talked about this many times, and right now, for the foreseeable future, we don't have any plans on keeping it free. My wife even told me the other day, she's like, "You keep it free," and I was like, "I will, as long as we can."
That's why we don't. Do an extra show on Patreon. It's because it's not fair to the people who don't have Patreon.
Yeah, because people don't have money, man. So the one thing you can do is give us views and likes. Likes help.
Yeah, because especially because if we're putting people's stories out there, that's putting information out there for other people who have gone through the same thing or something similar, and it would be kind of dishonest to be like, well, we just want to put information out there to help the field, and then, but by the way, that's going to be $5.99 a month or whatever behind just some paywall.
And you guys that got the books tonight, if you were to decide to go and do the Patreon, I'm going to tell you right now, don't think, oh, well, I already got one of the books, so that's not worth it for me. We'll give you a different book. We'll give you my other book, and then, of course, I have another book coming out, and hopefully sometime next month and a half, we're going to try and we're trying to get it out. But I am also in the middle of doing a million things, and so, when we're doing a billion different things, and I'm talking like I have a big major meeting tomorrow. You all right?
Yeah,
folks. I bid on a really big project, and that really I need that project to go through. If it works out, then great. It's God's will. If it doesn't, then fine. It's God's will. I'm not going to be upset one way or the other. Disappointed, yeah, but if you could pray for me that we can get this account, please, because it would mean a lot to us, and it's an account that's not super dangerous. They have problems, or they wouldn't have us there, but
it's not far from us.
It's not far. It's
lucrative.
It's lucrative. It's easy to staff. It would be big if you guys could pray and help us to because we don't. Then we can still do what we do. It would work out well with the show. There's no downside to that project. We did it before, and it was very good. So if you could pray, just pray that it goes through. I would really appreciate it. And my family would too, and so would the guards, because the guards, I'm sure, would love to not have to be at the wall or dealing with Queen Boudica. Or the other one of our other job sites is there's some homeless people that have a pack of dogs. A pack of dogs, and they've attacked one of our guards, tried to attack another, And one of our other guards actually had to defend himself. And then they wanted to get all upset like we did something wrong. And it's like, dude, you have a homeless camp there and you have a pack of dogs. What do you think we're supposed to do? Okay, so those are, 3 of our best sites. And then we have another site that is being used as gang initiation. What they've done on multiple occasions is run through the parking lot. They don't steal. They just break all the windows out of the cars as much as they can. And F you, they're basically a pack of wild-ass teenagers and early 20s people with no life. And so they've done this, and it's a nightmare. So this other account would be nice. It would be a breath of fresh air. It has its problems too, but not like on that scale. And it's dealing with a nicer area, different clientele. And they just want to be left alone. They don't want the homeless people marauding and taking their bikes off of their balconies and things like that. So yeah, if you could pray that we could get that account, it would be very good. And I wouldn't have to be depending on these fighting tooth and nail, like we're in the Teutoburg forest or something. It's unbelievable. Let me see if this person messaged me. Scorpion just asked me if he has to go back to the wall tomorrow. Yes, unfortunately. No, you're not happy about it. Daytime's not so bad, and you have backup too. So, River Morris says, "I'm a tribal elder down under. I seen Dog Lahar, Yowie, Dogman, Brown Jacks, Bunyip. The Bunyip, I've heard of that, and the Yowie. Those are Australian names for it. Bigfoot." Yeah, people getting attacked by packs of dogs. Lolo, you're not wrong about that. Now, folks, we're going to be mailing off probably Wednesday, so plan for that. If you have recently been told, hey, you're going to get something in the mail, or if you won this past week or up to this today, whatever, we're probably going to be mailing off on Wednesday. That's what we're looking at. We're hopefully can have time to go and get it done. And those of you who win, hoodies or shirts or whatever, or you get it from the Patreon. Yeah. Larry says, put me on the wall tomorrow. Well, I don't know. Who do we have tomorrow? I don't want to say it out loud, but do we have it covered? I think we have it covered, don't we?
Tomorrow, what's tomorrow, Monday?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got it all covered.
I think so.
But, we just hired 3 people.
Oh, crap, tomorrow's Monday. We have to take
honey
butters in the morning.
What time?
She's got to be there by 7:30 as soon as they open.
And I got to do my workout too. Oh man, we got to drive.
And then Tuesday, Beanie and Elvira have an appointment at Sunbury.
Every time we take one of them dogs to the vet, it's like $200.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Love animals, but you got to take care of them.
All right. They're expensive. Well, if you take care of them right, they're expensive.
John Zavon says, Goatman story. No, I'm not doing any Goatman stories tonight, but so anyways, folks, I guess we're going to bounce because what time is it? 2:50. It's been 2, yeah.
But I got an idea. We can play that werewolf song for them and then end it like instead of just ending the show with you on camera, I'll just switch it to the slide that says like until we meet again, and then we'll play the werewolf song, and then after that ends, then the stream ends.
Okay. Because
a lot of them didn't get to hear it.
Okay, yeah. So let's play that.
Right.
My wife, this This is the third one we released. Well, actually, the alien abduction one was technically the third one we did and released.
All right, so you can go ahead and just tell them goodbye or whatever, and then we'll put it to the end screen.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day.
All right.
Something changed inside of me. The inner human slowly deadening me. I feel it come alive. The darkness brings me light. There ain't no stopping it, and you will never hide from me. Pain of the change. What have I become? A creature of the night, ruled by moonlight. The pain of the change. This body's no longer mine. Feel wild and free, but caged at the same time. Excited to be human, think human, feel human. A hunger's arising inside of me. The beast is alive and break it free. Excited to be human, think human, feel human. Keep putting more chains on the beast. Hope it don't break loose. You better hope so too. I'm still inside. I'm still here. What have I done? When did this all start? I have become a monster in the dark, a hunger like no other, running on instinct. What's this creature always inside of me? The pain of the change. What have I become?